Roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to
in our broadcast journey as the North County Raiders scored early and held off a late charge to knock off their rival, the Farmington Knights, in Week 1 in Raider Country. Led by senior size up front, North County held on for a 24-17 victory. Now, we turn our attention to the middle of the county and the defending state champions, the Central Rebels. Rain and lightning forced the red, white, and blue to take the trip twice to Owensville, leading to a hard-fought 22-13 victory in Week 1. Now they turn their sights on undefeated Jefferson as the Blue Jays fly in with plans of spoiling the first time the Rebels have played on their home field since hoisting the trophy last December. It will be electric in Park Hills tonight as we welcome our next fan favorite to bring you the play-by-play this evening. Brandon Geiler will lead our coverage with Coach Whitener and Mike Reeves as we get you ready for the Rebel home opener. Knuckleball Prime Time's Chad Winch has the pregame interviews, and Wyatt Colley and Jacob Towers are at the ready to continue to bring you the best high school football coverage right here on Facebook Live and YouTube. It's time for Week 2 of the high school football season on Parkland Sports Live.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health is looking to hire a diversion recovery coach. The DRC would be part of a forensic mobile team serving the central, east, and southeast regions of Missouri. A degree in social work, psychology, or other closely related field is preferred. Experience in community mental health, forensic mental health, and substance use disorders is required. Individuals with case management and psychiatric rehabilitation experience will receive preferential consideration. Specialized licensure or certification is also preferred. To apply, go to dmh.mo.gov and click on Employment Opportunities or call 573-218-6800.
Hi, and welcome to the Knuckleball Prime Time. Live from the Barn Studio, you got the Mox here, and I'm joined online right now with Coach Atlee of the Jefferson Blue Jays. Coach, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to be on the call this week. Parkland Sports Live will be on the call live in Park Hills as the Jefferson Blue Jays will take on the Central Rebels this Friday. You can catch all the coverage on the Parkland Podcast Facebook page and the Barn YouTube channel, and our coverage starts at 6:20. Coach, I know you're 1-0 right now. Had a game on Saturday. Tell us a little bit about the game.
Yeah, Saturday games always get us out of our comfort zone a little bit, so that's always a hairy start for us. I think actually last year was our first ever Saturday win since I've been at Jefferson since 2015, so it's kind of nice to have that monkey off our back. And, we started slow. We knew week one there's going to be some growing pains. We got a lot of new people and new positions. And I think it took us, almost 18 minutes till we finally got some points on the board. And then once we did, they kind of came in droves. I think we scored 5 touchdowns total. And they all came probably within, 12 minutes of game time, maybe not one specific quarter, but just second end of the first half and beginning part of the second.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch the game in person, but looking at the box score, it looks like what you're saying is, maybe a scoreless first quarter and then maybe a little bit of scoring, or maybe you were down 13-7 at the half and then come out firing after that. What was the change? Was it the old, go get them halftime speech, or what was the change there with the team?
It's kind of funny because, a lot of people said, what'd you say at halftime? I didn't say much. I say the stuff we always say, that we need to focus on being better versions of us. because we weren't doing that. We were doing making a lot of silly mistakes and putting ourselves in a bad position because we were moving the ball, and then we have a penalty or a missed blocking assignment, and the next thing you know, we're in 3rd and long or 2nd and long. It's hard to dig out of those holes. And you got to give credit to Priory. They had one big play. You got to give it to them. It was a great play call for what we had defensively. And that's good stuff on their coaching staff. We made an adjustment, and then our kids kind of made the same mistakes, and we have to make sure we fix those things. And we did in the second half, and we were able to hold them to 3 points from that point on. And offensively, I think we just really started to click. Our O-line was kind of starting to get it figured out at that point. And, I think our depth helped a little bit because cramping was a big issue for them. So we just kind of kept being who we are, and we got better at it. And that's what we have to do.
Frisk seemed to have a really nice night, 75 yards on the ground with 2 TDs and 88 yards in the air. Tell us a little bit about his impact on the game. Yeah,
Cooper is a great kid. He's, I coached his brother last year, and Cooper stepped up in a lot of ways for us at slot receiver last year. And, moving into the quarterback role is tough. But, I was talking to even some kids today, and they said they were really impressed with the way he stepped up as a leader in that second half when we needed someone to pick us up. And I know Cooper was there, Carson Hafner were there, just to name a couple people. But yeah, I'm very proud of the development Cooper has made. At one point over the summer, I kind of sat him down and said, hey, I'm thinking that maybe it's not the best route to have you at quarterback. And, as a team player, I didn't know what he would say, but he said something along the lines of, no, let's do this. We'll do what we need to do to get it done. And, that's what we did. And he was absolutely right, and he's done a great job so far.
And going back to last year, he's played several positions, right?
Yeah, he was a slot receiver / running back for us last year from our wing spot, and really did a really nice job for us as a sophomore.
With a week 1 game on Saturday, coaches and teams love a regimented schedule, and that throws things off a bit. What adjustments do you have to make now to, your planning for practices this week, preparing for Central on Friday?
Yeah, it's a little different. The one thing that was kind of nice, and I talked to some people about it being week 1 Saturday game, is the kids aren't really in the routine of playing on Fridays. So it doesn't really throw that off yet. But then we come into this week, and, even today someone mentioned, well, we have a game a week early, a shorter week. And it's like, well, no, we have a normal week. It just kind of feels shorter because it was a little bit longer last week. Really doesn't change a whole lot for us. We just still prepare the same. We just had one extra day of kind of game planning and watching film last week than we did this week. So didn't change too much. Really just got to, I will say we're typically helmets on Tuesdays. We went shells today, so we did change that up a little bit, but outside of that, not too much else has changed.
With a nice win, 33-16 in week 1, what can you take away from that win that will help you on Friday?
I think there's a lot of good things you can take away. One, we didn't know how we were going to respond as a team with a lot of new pieces in place. And it's really easy when you get down 13-0 at one point to kind of just call it, to realize things are hard. And that was never even a thought whatsoever. Not only was it not a thought, as soon as we went down 13-0, we went down and scored, and then we got the ball back and immediately did the same thing, and then got the ball back and immediately did the same thing. So it was really good to see the intensity ramp up when we realized we had our backs against the wall a little bit. So that was huge. And just the overall way the team meshed together was really nice to see. I know we got a lot of things we got to work on. This week we know we got to work on being more physical, and we got to work on being in better shape. And I think that's a problem with a lot of teams week 1. But I know we're playing a very stout football team on Friday and a very, very good program, and we have to be sure we're at our best.
Been around a lot of coaches and talked to a lot of coaches. And that week one is always so important because you've been banging on each other all summer long. It gets tired. You get a little jamboree season scrimmage in maybe a little bit, but you don't ever see that full game speed. And what you're talking about, what I'm hearing, is the mental aspect of the game too. Seeing how your guys respond to adversity, because going down 13-0, it can be easy to check out at that point. Were you happy with the response there?
100%. That was one of the big things. We always tell our kids, we're going to put you in tough spots. Practice is going to be hard. And when it feels like it's going easy, we're going to do something to change things up, to put you in a bad spot, because we know things aren't always going to go our way. We're not always going to get a great call. The ball's not always going to bounce our way, whatever it may be. And we have to be willing to kind of put our egos aside and say, it doesn't really matter. We just have to keep going. So that is huge. Week ones are always, you're always happy when you come away with the week one win, because then you feel like you have the speed of the game underneath you a little bit, and you can kind of move forward from there.
We have the Central Rebels this Friday. Obviously state champs last year, but it's well known that they've graduated a ton of talent. But they come away with a week one win that was sort of odd with timing. They had to do some rescheduling. What are your early thoughts on the Central Rebels?
They did lose a lot of kids, but I mean, there's no secret about it. They're a great program. Coach Schweiss does a great job down there with those kids, and they're another good team this year. Maybe they have some different faces, but they're big, they're physical, they like to get after it. I know they have a quarterback, inside linebacker, who is just a stud of an athlete, that we have to make sure we're at our best to take him out of the game. They have a couple running backs, receivers, who are very good and very dynamic with the ball in their hands. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. And that's what we talked about with our kids. It's going to be a test for where our program is at. And we're going to see if we're going to be ready to answer the call or not.
How important will the trenches be in this game?
Oh, I think I don't want to say they'll be everything, but I think they'll be very, very crucial. I know, I feel like we have a decent sized line, and I'd be willing to bet they are, I'll say, significantly bigger than us. They look big on film, and maybe the film adds some pounds, but they look like they got some big boys. But I think we have a good group up front, and we're going to see, that's kind of what we talked about the past 2 days, is it's going to come down to who wants it more, who's got the bigger heart, who wants to get out there and just grind and get after it. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of see what's going to happen.
You mentioned the QB, Jones. He's a middle inside linebacker, Mike linebacker, playing QB, could probably play most of the positions, but he's almost like a fullback playing quarterback, but can throw it as well. What are the plan on how to contain him?
Well, I don't know if there's a way to contain him. You just got to try to minimize the damage the best you can. When you got an athlete like that, it's hard to. You're not going to stop them from making their plays. You just got to minimize the damage the best as possible. I think the one thing we saw on our end is we have to do a better job of getting to the ball carrier, but not only getting there, but running our feet on contact. That's something he does very well. And if we don't do that, he's going to get a lot of tough yards. So we have to make sure we are rallying, running our feet, and just getting downhill. And if we're not doing that, we could be a long night.
The Rebels are notorious for not carrying a kicker on their squad. So there's a lot of times where you'll be facing 4 downs instead of 3. Does that change the mindset as far as the strategic game plan to defense, understanding that they might be working within 4 downs rather than 3?
Not really. I think one thing I've learned, especially my first couple of years and some of the close games we've had over the past 2 years, is field position has played such a huge part of that game. And I do, you can't ignore the analytics when you get 4 downs and your odds go up of converting that first down. That's all great, but we've also been put in several spots and where you go for it on 4th down, 4th and short, and you don't get it. And now they have the ball on the 30-yard line. That short field, you don't want to give that to anyone. I think it's hard to find a lot of teams in the state, or really most of high school football, who can continue to put together long, sustained drives. And so, we really want to focus on field position and eliminating those big plays. And we can do that. We could put ourselves in a decent position to be successful.
How much does time of control play into that? Running the ball, getting the first downs, not turning it over, not getting in positions where you're at 3rd and long and you're trying to do something maybe a little bit outside of your comfort zone. But, how important is controlling the ball?
I think it's going to be really important, especially this week. I know they like to run the ball. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know they ran the ball more than they threw it. And we were the same way on Friday. So, it's going to be probably a lot of running clocks. It's going to be, not very much stoppage, continuing to just pound and pound and pound. And, it's like we said earlier, it's going to be one in the trenches, and we're going to see who wants it more.
Is this a little bit of throwback to the old school, you think?
Maybe a little bit old school, because I think we're both going out of a lot of gun sets. So, but yeah, a lot of running, a lot of power football, I think.
Joined here with Coach Atlee of the Jefferson Blue Jays. They will be in Park Hills at Central Rebel Field on Friday for week 2. Finally, Coach, talk a little bit further out. What are some of the goals that you have for the Blue Jays this year?
We have one goal in our program, and that's just develop a mentality of success in everything we do. We want to get that teamwork, that camaraderie. We want to work hard with everything we do. We want to do it together, and we want to do it for the community and for the people that support us. That's really what we focus on. We don't have any long-term goals like winning a district title or stuff like that. We believe that when we take care of that and we raise great young men, that those things will come. So that's what we continue to focus on.
Hey, Coach, we'll see you when you get into town, and good luck this Friday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health Center has been providing mental health services since 1903. We are located in beautiful Farmington, Missouri, and serve upwards of 350 patients. With over 1,100 employees, we are the largest employer in St. Francis County.
I think is always in our mission is to get those guys to the place where they can be released in the community and live their lives.
But what makes SMMHC so special?
There's room for advancement. They're good benefits.
When you join SMMHC, you're being welcomed into our family. Find us at dmh.mo.gov.
Hi, and welcome to the Knuckleball Prime Time live from the Barn Studio. You got the Mocs here, and I'm joined online right now with Coach Corey Schweiss of the Central Rebels. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you?
And dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
number 2 is upon us of high school football, and two teams with similar storylines coming into the season going to match up with identical 1-0 records here tonight in Park Hills. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week number 2 of high school football. I'm Brandon Geiler, the coach Jake Whitener alongside, and Mike Reeves roaming the sidelines. We'll talk to him in just a bit. And Jake, as we get set for a home opener for the Central Rebels in defense of their Class 3 state championship from a year ago, the first time they've stepped on the home field since that moment, you just have a vibe of excitement in the air here in Park Hills tonight.
I mean, you should. You do a great job last year, Coach Swice and his crew. You know, they started the season 3-0 last year, went through a little bit of a hit, losing Case and Murphy. They, for the first time, I think, in over a decade, under Coach Swice, lost 3 games in a row. But, you know, they ended on an 8-0 run with a very well dominated, you know, score says a little bit, but if you watch the state championship, a very impactful almost Central Rebels win in the state championship. So you're right, coming back for your home opener 1-0. The only thing that you kind of have to consider though is you're in a little bit different era of football now that you've graduated that group of seniors. So, you know, the environment's great, first time in front of their fans since they were in Columbia last year. Probably going to be a very high running oriented game here, probably out of both staffs tonight.
Yeah, very similar styles, very similar storylines in that you talked about graduating a lot of that senior class for the Central Rebels that led the way to that state title. But this year they run the ball and they grind it out on the ground. Between the two teams combined last week, 536 yards on the ground between the two squads, Jefferson and Central. And while people talk about what Central has lost, this year, for me, is one of the fun ones to watch because I love Corey Schweiss when the talk is about what's not there and the way he approaches what he has and can use.
And it's funny you bring that up because that was my exact thought coming up here to get to see them for the first time this year. Was you had something special the last few years that a lot of teams don't have the opportunity to have. But at the same point, you're at a different point with the Central Rebels team where you're not where you were when Corey Schweiss took over. You know, you're not laying the foundations right now. In my opinion, you know, or in the coaching term, all you're doing is reframing. You know, right. You're reframing your program. You're not restructuring your program. You just need to find where do we need to build on this, where do we need to build on that. And he has one of the best in the MAFC or in Southeast Missouri. He has one of the best coaching staffs that support that. You know, he's got longtime P.J. Jones that pitches in and does any and everything defensively. Great mindset. But he's got a very knowledgeable, you know, maybe in the future takeover type man in Jake Bridges. You know, so it's really, as you say that, you're not about who you don't have anymore. It's about what you have and how can we utilize those bodies.
And one of the things that caught my ear this week in talking or listening to the interview that Chad did with Corey Schweiss, talking about that, laying the groundwork for the years ahead and who takes over the program and making sure it's in good hands and building those relationships where you want former players to come around, be around the program, and you look up and down this coaching staff, it's former player after former player. And when you talk about just restructuring for Corey Schweiss, you have to go back to 2008 since the last time he had a losing record.
And, I mean, Coach Schweiss has done a phenomenal job. When he took over, this was not the Park Hills that everyone knows now. Anyone who's a Rebel fan knows that dating back when Corey took over, you know, you have your rules of 4 as a head coach. It probably is going to take you 4 years to build the foundation work for what you want. And what he has now, seeing the amount of love and support that these guys keep pouring back for the years of dedication that he put into them and now they're resurfacing and putting back. The one thing I have to say about the man that Corey Schweiss is, the years of coaching against him, playing against him, is it would have been really easy. You know, he's got plenty of years in the educational system. It would have been really easy to win a state title and step away.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing.
A lot of people would have done that.
You bet. And that's the one thing he didn't do, though. He wanted to make sure that whenever this program is handed over, it's as good as it can be for whoever's going to, you know, be at the helm or in the seat of control, to make sure that it is not a failing system, that whatever goes on, they've got a threshold on what's to come.
The old adage of leave it better than when you found it.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly what he's trying to do. We bring in the third member of our broadcast team tonight. That is Mike Reeves down on the sideline. And Mike, while you guys had to watch the skies a week ago, don't have to worry about that here tonight.
I don't know if you draw it up to be much better than we have it here tonight. It's perfect. The wind is at this point not really an issue. Temperature's fine. We're not worried about humidity and the bulbs and everything else we had for the heat last week. None of that. Guys, I want to ask you a question, though, because I've been thinking about this, listening to you and preparing for this week. How long do you go into this season before you don't start a game with Central talking about the championship of last year? And I wonder for the players and the coaches how fast they had to turn that page, too, because every time they turn around, somebody's saying, oh, the defending state champ. That at some point, you're just this year's team. How long do we get into this year before they're just the 2024 team and not the defending champ from a year ago? That's a tough one for me because you want to live off that as long as you can.
Jake, I'll let you take that.
Well, that's a setup right there by Mike Reeves. But in all honesty, from the coaching perspective, it's kind of like when you win or lose on a Friday night. It's done by Saturday morning. Obviously you win a state championship, you come home. I had the privilege to win some state championships in wrestling back with Farmington in the day. You had to move on to the next year when you came back. There was work to do. And I'm sure Coach Schweiss has said it, from a coaching perspective, that was last season. You lived it. We had a great time. We all got to enjoy something special. But now this is our 2024 season, as Mike said. It's time to build on who we are and what we do best.
One quick thought before I get it back up to you guys. If you are a Central opponent this year, it's not the same team. This isn't the team that won a state championship. But do the opponents of the Rebels, especially early season, is this a game you mark on your schedule and go, we got the defending champs, let's go prove what we have? Can a team like Jefferson look at it that way tonight?
Well, I truly think that's how they see it. A lot of teams knew what Central was last year. A lot of teams understood that they had a great graduating class, but by no means can you assume, because they're graduating the tremendous athleticism they have, do you schedule them and think this is going to be a walk in the park? There's no way you can look at Corey Schweiss and his staff and honestly believe that they are not going to come out and be in a dogfight every single game, regardless of who's on the schedule.
And Corey and the Central Rebels showed that last week by coming away with a 22-13 win over Owensville. Meanwhile, their opponent, the Blue Jays of Jefferson, not a bad start for them either. They fell down in week number 1 to Priory by a score of 13-0 and then got it rolling. 5 consecutive possessions. They scored touchdowns, one right before halftime, and then punching them in droves in the second half and running away with a 33-16 win. So you fall behind 13-0 and then only give up 3 points the rest of the way. Not a bad way to start your season.
By no means, and that says something about what Coach Atlee's starting to do here, because his first game, I actually had the chance to be on the opposite sideline with him, his first time taking over. And, we had a slugfest. It was a 6-3 Fredericktown ball game. When the year prior wasn't that. And to see what Coach Atlee is doing, he is going to have his young men, obviously a sideline that's got greater numbers this year. He's improving the numbers in a Class 2 school, which is something you have to have, but they know that each time that they step on the field, they've got to play their best with all their starters for every single down to have a chance to compete.
We are ready for football here in week number 2. Hope you are settled in, ready to go with us as well, as Dakota French will kick it away. Wears number 47 for the Blue Jays in their white uniforms, the blue pants. Meanwhile, Karis Foster stands pacing the 5-yard line back and forth, awaiting the kickoff from the Blue Jays. With a swing of the right leg, we are underway, and Foster will field it at the 13, come across the 20, veer to the 25-yard line, try to break a tackle, and spun down as he crosses the 30 to about the 31 with the opening kickoff of the ballgame.
It'll be interesting to see, because as we've seen Central the last few years, as we keep talking about, years past, there's a high-tempo offense, fast pace. So it'll be really interesting to see the in and out of the huddle, how quick they break to get up to the line.
Max Woods standing to the right of the quarterback, Jackson Jones, who stands about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, has 2 wide receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. And he waits for the whistle from the officials, ready to go with the first play from scrimmage. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line for the Rebs. Jones will look to pass on the first down, and he finds a man at the 40, in and out of the hands, falls incomplete. Graff was the intended target. And one thing we did not talk about, Jones, maybe overlooked a little bit, did throw 15 passes a week ago.
And I think everybody looks at the body size of what Jackson Jones is, and you see a young PJ and a stout middle linebacker playing quarterback. So I really think it caught Jefferson off guard to see a pass on the very first play of the game.
A two-time state linebacker playing quarterback. He'll take it and run it straight up the middle, make a man miss at the line of scrimmage, and then pound forward across the 35 to the 36. 5-yard pickup on the first carry of the night for Jones.
It'll be really interesting to see how this Jefferson defense, kind of adjusts, because they run a 3-3 stack inside the box, so you've got 3 linebackers stacked behind their defensive linemen. You have a lot of stunt variations there, but you see now we go from a spread offense now to a wishbone, now a Maryland eye look out of Central.
Karras, the deep man for the Central Rebels, will get the handoff straight up the middle. Nothing but green grass of the home field in front of him, and Foster will break it all the way for a 63-yard touchdown run, just like that. Clean blocking and a great job by Foster, a young sophomore. You talk about the youth movement of this Central Rebel team. They had a freshman return a kick 85 yards for a touchdown last week. They had Foster make play after play after play. He does it here, there, and puts them on the board, leading 6-0 with 11:04 left to go in the opening quarter, and Jones will come on to attempt the extra point. They will fake the extra point, going for 2. Rolls right, throws right, knocked down in the corner of the end zone was the intended target, Devin Graff. No flag on the play, and it'll stay 6-0. Great start for the Central Rebels.
And that's something to consider. We just talked about that 3-3 stack. 3-3 stack is great if you have linebackers that can fill gaps and read, but whenever you have, people who don't understand what a Maryland eye is, you have 3 running backs in the straight eye behind the quarterback, and all 3 of those have to have a read. And if one of those guys doesn't pick up on the read, or a defensive lineman doesn't stunt to the proper gap, it is a gap-controlled defense. You're going to leave gaps like that most of the evening.
And the excitement on the sideline, Mike Reeves, is pretty electric right now after a run like that.
Well, what was so good from my perspective, I set myself up behind the Central offense, and while you watch that hole develop, all right, I'm going to say 2 things about that. Number 1, I could have gotten through the hole. I could have gotten through it. I couldn't have run the 63 yards to the end zone. That was a magnificent job of blocking up front. Once you get a speedster like that through the hole, then the rest of it, rather easy. Those guys up front did a wonderful job on that play.
And there is some size up front for the Central Rebels. We'll talk about that as the night goes along and they get ready to kick it away. But great start. Couldn't have drawn it up any better. 3 plays, a 69-yard drive. And one of the notes I had coming into the week, they had a lot of possessions that were quick strike, less than a minute off the clock of game time. And this year didn't set up that way. But that's exactly what we have with that possession right there. And a little squib kick takes a bounce at about the 35-yard line and into the hands of a Jefferson Blue Jay. Pouncing on it is Jacob Bruntz.
So now you flip script. You just have a 3 plays that go 63 yards, and now you have to face a P.J. Jones controlled defense. So anybody who knows football knows that whenever you face up against Central Rebels and you've got P.J. Jones as the play caller, you're in for a dogfight here in the trenches, and that's exactly what Jefferson likes to do, is run in the trenches.
Cooper Frisk will man the controls for the Jefferson offense. He stands back at the 25-yard line, drops back, looks to pass, tucks it down, and now dumps it off over the middle, and catching the ball is Hafner. Hafner picks up about 5 on first down. Good composure by the young quarterback, Cooper Frisk, who went 6 of 10, 88 yards a week ago.
And Cooper's a guy who's got composure. He's been in that spot. This isn't his first rodeo, so to speak, at the control of the Blue Jays offense. And that's something that says a lot, especially against a team like a P.J. Jones-controlled defense here, knowing that you're going to get different angles each and every rep.
2nd down and 5 from the 36. It'll be a handoff straight up the gut, right into the waiting arms of a couple Central Rebel tacklers. Back just beyond the line of scrimmage, maybe a pickup of 1 on that carry.
And something I was going to say, Brandon, you always have to be ready with these guys. It's not just a controlled offense, a controlled defense. You see the way that they line up. They don't do a traditional kickoff. They do a cluster kickoff, 5 and 5 on each side of the kicker. To get that little pooch kick, you don't know how many times you think you're going to get a pooch, and all of a sudden it's an onside to an opposite side of the field.
Man goes in motion, gets the handoff right up the middle. Again, that is Hafner, and Hafner fooled no one, clogging up the middle of that line, and the battle of the trenches being won so far by the defensive line of the Central Rebels, as Silas Richardson using his big frame to clog things up, and it'll bring up 4th and 4 from the 37, and Jefferson acting like they're going to go for it. But watch out, because the quarterback can also act as the kicker, and he drops back. And that'll send Karras dropping back as well. It is a fake, and keeping it is the quarterback French, and he tries to spin for a first down, does not, and it'll be a turnover on downs. He picked up a couple, but he needed one more yard to get there.
You know, and that's the bad thing there is you have a quarterback who drops back, so it shifts a middle linebacker out to the corner. Brandon, I don't know if anybody realized it. There was nobody on the number 2 receiver out there. Nobody covered the slot receiver, so had he dumped it early, you know, a robber route or a hot route, that was an easy first down. Maybe not a touchdown, but he definitely had the 6-7 yards he needed to get there.
So Central fresh off a good start offensively. The defense forces a turnover on downs by Jefferson, and Foster will get the handoff again. Started out right, hop back to the middle of the field, and picks up 5. He is running the ball effectively so far tonight.
Gain of 5 will make it 2nd and 5.
You know, with so many different athletes coming through the Central Rebels locker room the last few years, it almost goes back to the Welch boy they had years ago. Yep. Seeing his shiftiness, I mean, because he's got a downhill explosion, but man, he gets to that past the defensive line, and he's got some moves.
Man comes in motion, lines up just to the right of the quarterback Jones, again to Foster, and he'll fight near the first down sticks. Don't know if they'll give him forward progress. If they do, it'll be 3rd and short at best. Again, good blocking up front by that Rebel line.
You know, I think that's going to be the hard thing here is for Jefferson on defense to be able to match the pace and tone up front. Because Central's not huddling. They're all wristers right now. They're calling it, and they're in and out right now every 20 seconds with a play.
There's the 3 backs behind Jones again. Give to the deep man, make a man miss at the line of scrimmage, and pick up 3 when you needed 1. That moves the sticks, and we're inside of 8 minutes left to go first quarter. Central on the move. Jackson Jones looking over the plays on his wrist and trying to direct traffic on another scoring drive. Central got on the board 3 plays into the ball game with a dynamic 63-yard touchdown run by Foster, who lines up as the deep man once again in this formation. Instead, a rollout, and Jones will lob it off his back foot, throw it up there, and it is picked off, taken away at the 10-yard line. He floated up a wobbler, and that gave the linebacker, Gavin Green, an opportunity to run underneath it and take it away.
From their own 11-yard line.
Mike Reeves, what do you have?
Guys, I want you, as you watch this possession defensively from Central, pay attention up front. I watched that first defensive situation with Silas Richardson, the big boy in the middle, sophomore at 6'2" and 245. He absolutely just ate up the Jefferson offense on that first time that they had the ball. Keep an eye on him as you watch this possession as well.
And Jefferson was trying to set up a screen. Richardson was one of those there to wreak havoc on it. And instead, an incomplete pass, and they'll set up 1st and 10 from our 2nd and 10 from the 11-yard line.
I think this is one thing, though, if you're Coach Atley and your offense, you know, don't overthink who you are, though. I mean, this is a game where you knew you were going to come in and run the ball. They do have a large size inside, but right now, I mean, you're throwing the ball, especially with how deep you are in your end zone. Don't be scared to run this ball.
And Frisk will give it to Hafner. Hafner sweeps it around far side of the field, and that gave the defense enough opportunity to get there. Max Woods, one of those, helping out to make that tackle, along with Foster, who has had a great game on both sides of the ball, and we're just 5 minutes into the first quarter.
3rd and 9.
And now you're looking at a 3rd and 9 situation after a pickup of 1 on the carry.
I think you may get into a chance here. This would be a good time to do it, to do a hard count and see if you can't get them to jump.
Play action. He's going to lob it down near side. Double coverage. 2 Rebel defenders there. And the ball falls incomplete as Barrett Henson and Brady Schweiss had blanket coverage on the intended receiver.
You know, now if you're Jefferson, the thought goes through your head. I mean, you're pretty deep. You're on your own 12-yard line here. You know, you're dropping into punt. Now that they're dropping into punt, there is a little confusion off the defense. At least now they did cover up the number 2. I'm sure somebody else on the coaching staff saw that for Central. But I was going to say, if they don't cover him up, do you take a chance with how deep you are in your end zone?
And we'll see the punt get away, and it is a wobbler across the 40. Takes a Rebel bounce inside the 40 in great field position for the second consecutive drive for the Central Rebels. Mike Reeves down on the sideline. Central, if they can put one on the board, puts themselves in great situation early on in this ballgame.
Well, field position right now, battle is very much being won by Central. You need, though, to capitalize. You throw the interception on the last possession, and this one becomes even more important. You need to get points out of this, take advantage of that field position while you have it. Usually at some point during the night, things will flip. Well, this is a chance here, though, to be up by 2 scores before that happens.
And Jones and that Rebel offense come back out offensively. He threw an interception the last time they had it. This time, a quarterback keeper right up the gut inside the 35 to about the 34. One of the men in there to try to wrestle him down was Tyler Crater, who led the team in tackles a week ago, having 9 for the Blue Jays.
You know, and just thinking as a coach here, you're this Jefferson team getting ready to play Central. You have a lot of things to think of, but how much time you have to spend during the week on formations. You know, They started off spread, then they go Maryland I, then they go traditional I, and now there were 3 wings. There were 3 wings on the field instead of receivers. So it's just something that Coach Atlee had to spend more time on this week contemplating.
That's why I say this is a fun year for myself personally to watch Corey Schweiss.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
With a stoppage in play, chance to remind you there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you to enjoy the diverse menu and fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides for rolling good times at Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Out of the timeout, 2nd and 6 from the Blue Jay 33-yard line. Jones, the quarterback, takes it right up the middle and leans forward, trying to get to the 30-yard line before he's ridden down there by Aiden Allen, one of the men on the interior for the Blue Jays with the tackle.
You know, you take away a couple of the dance moves that Central's had once they get past the defensive line. Obviously, the long run is included in this. They've done a great job with the linebacker core and the secondary core coming downhill and stopping. You know, they're averaging 5 yards. You're going to have to cut that down to cut down on first downs, but they're still doing a great job until you get a penalty like that.
And a hard count is going to give the Rebels a first down on 3rd and 3. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, and that's something that we haven't talked about up to this point is penalties. Both teams playing clean for the first 7 minutes or so of this ball game.
But it's bound to happen, though. You've got some meat on the interior of both these, and you're going on a pretty steady count. It's bound to happen. You're going to get a couple encroachment penalties tonight.
Checking into the ball game, August Black, who is the young freshman we talked about that had a kickoff return for an 85-yard touchdown. He'll get the swing pass on the right side here and try to make something happen. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard better, before a whole mass of bodies ride him down there. It'll be 2nd and about 9, just inside the 25-yard line.
You know, that's something we talk about through the years of you get an offense, it's kind of a monotonous system, run, run, run. If you're these secondary, especially these corners on the outside, you kind of get lullabied to sleep. You know, Jackson Jones may not have the exact precision as years past quarterbacks, but it's still been seen, as you said, 15 passes last week, that he can put the ball in the air if needed.
And he completed 11 of them. He will hand the ball off to August Black this time, and Black, nothing but white and blue shirts in front of him, as winning the battle on the line that time were the Blue Jays, and that is a loss, and it'll bring up 3rd and long. Be no surprise, more than likely 4-down territory for the Central Rebels.
You bet. This is 4-down territory, and with that being said, the creativity between Jake Bridges and Corey Schweiss on this offensive side, you don't know what you're going to get either. It's most likely not your traditional play.
Looking at the sideline for the play is Jones, with Woods standing to his right. Has twin wide receivers to each side of the formation. He'll look to pass, lobs it for the corner of the end zone, has Henson. A little long for him, just incomplete. Henson had beat his defender and was clear of him by a good 3 yards.
I don't even know what you say on that. You just talk about a guy who's got a frame like a middle linebacker that just put the ball in the air 37 yards and almost hit the back pylon, which if you're going to miss long, you always tell your quarterback to miss long. He overshot him just a little bit, but now you know you can stretch the field a little bit with what Jackson Jones brings in his arm strength.
And when he decides to tuck it and run, it's like tackling a guy with tree trunks for legs.
He looks a very good resemblance of his father back in the day.
4th down situation for the Rebels. A screen pass coming back far side of the field to Black. He picks it up and fights forward. Should have 1st down yardage. It's all going to depend on the spot. I thought he got across to the 15, and the ref on the far side agrees. They needed 12. They got 13.
You know, that just goes back to the creativity of what these guys can do. You watch Jackson on that last incompletion. He rolled to his right just a little bit, got his feet set, put a ball 40-something yards downfield. It has the exact same look on what's coming. Then all of a sudden he goes back across the defensive line's face to a screen backside.
We're inside of 3 minutes left to go. Opening quarter, 6-0. Central with the lead. Foster, another carry. He's going to try to bounce it outside, and he does. Makes a man miss at the 10, and he walks it into the end zone. Karis Foster, 15 yards out, his 2nd score of the night. Man, you look at these names making these plays tonight. Foster is a sophomore. Black, who just converted the 1st down, is a freshman. I know there's turnover for the Central Rebels, but they are in a pretty good place with playmakers.
You know, and it's nice to have these young guys that are stepping up who have been behind such athletic guys, because you know they've learned from them. You know, those older guys, They always teach the younger guys something, and to see the dynamics, you would think they were varsity starters from years past.
3 back straight behind Jones, and the handoff to Foster, trying to reach his hand across the goal line, not going to make it, as hanging on to the ankles, making the tackle. Tyler Crater, again, the man on the spot for the Blue Jays. Rebels back on the board again. 2:50 left to go. Opening quarter. The Rebels out to a 12-0 lead over the Jays. We'll be back after this.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health is looking to hire a diversion recovery coach. The DRC would be part of a forensic mobile team serving the central, east, and southeast regions of Missouri. A degree in social work, psychology, or other closely related field is preferred. Experience in community mental health, forensic mental health, and substance use disorders is required. Individuals with case management and psychiatric rehabilitation experience will receive preferential consideration. Specialized licensure or certification is also preferred. To apply, go to dmh.mo.gov and click on Employment Opportunities, or call 573-218-6800.
Karis Foster, 5 carries, 80 yards so far tonight, including 2 big scores, one from 63 yards out, one from 15 out just moments ago, and another squib kick is taken by Kinch. And the Central Rebels, who came in, we knew they were going to run the ball. Mike Reeves, they've done a great job of clearing holes and giving those playmakers an opportunity to make those plays.
They have, but I tell you what I like. I like the fact that the passing game is a threat. It hasn't connected for a lot yet. They missed that almost sure touchdown throw a moment ago, but I like that there's a threat to throw the ball, and that opens up what you want to do in the run game even more. There's a lot that they're doing well, and Brandon, I'm so glad you mentioned the fact that you look down on the sheet and it's freshman and sophomore getting it done.
A completed pass. Weiss, who was a big playmaker for the Jays last week in their come-from-behind win over Priory, gets the reception from Frisk. Frisk's second completion in 4 attempts. He's completed 8 yards of passes so far. And we'll see if the Blue Jays stick to their approach of ground game, get back to that, and maybe try to make adjustments like they did a week ago, because they're in a very similar situation that they were in just a week ago. It was about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. They were down 13-0 before they turned it around, made some adjustments on the offensive line, according to Coach Atley, and then didn't look back.
I think you just have to settle down and find yourself. You're in week 2 of high school football. You know, you're not going to be that midseason form right out of the gates, even though you've had the summer to work. It's just not there yet.
And the quarterback, Frisk, fakes the end-around handoff and keeps it himself and gets back near the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 1. It's Frisk's second carry for 4 yards so far tonight.
Well, you still have a dynamic offense here out of Central. You know, they've had 13 offensive plays. They're well over 100 yards already on. And you look at Jefferson, and I mean they're looking at their 8th play on offense here for 6 yards.
Frisk looking, being chased by a Rebel defender. Now 2 Rebel defenders, and then he tossed it away. That was a careless play, and the ball is popped free and should be a turnover and a flag on the play as well. We'll see if it's going to go against the Rebels and maybe a face mask, judging by the reaction of the near side sideline. Mike, you were really close to that. Did you have an opportunity to see? Mike Reeves down on the sideline right behind the Rebel bench.
Close to it is an accurate description. Blocked by a bunch of football players in my view from where I was standing is also an accurate description. So I knew the ball was out by following your play-by-play, but I did not see anything else with it. You know what? You don't think of high school kids as being, like big kids. There's a few of them that can block your view, guys, I'm telling you.
Well, judging by the reaction from this near sideline, I thought it was going to be on Central, but they called grounding on Frisk. So
yeah, I think they got him with not having a receiver in the vicinity, because, I mean, the rule changed 2 years ago, or it may have been 3 years ago now, where you can get outside the pocket and throw it away, but that ball's got to get past the initial line of scrimmage, which it didn't. It was 4 or 5 yards behind.
So Frisk will drop back in his punting formation from the 10-yard line. He'll try to get it away. A pretty good boot to Foster, who will just let it go, and it takes an unbelievable Blue Jay bounce inside the 25 down to around the 23. He kicked that from the 10-yard line, and it carried all the way down to the 23. So by far the worst field position that the Rebels will have started with here tonight.
You know, that's something to watch. Mike had talked about it earlier. Field position is going to be a lot of the battle. You know, you have a young man that his first punt goes 26 yards. You know, he had some pressure on it. They were deep in their own end zone, first punt of the night, trying to get maybe his wits about him. That one travels 48 yards and completely flips sides of the field for the Central offense.
And we'll see if the Blue Jay defense can maybe build off that. Glad you're tuned in tonight on Parkland Sports Live. Along with the coach, Jake Whitener, and Mike Reeves roaming the sideline, I'm Brandon Geiler. We have a penalty before the first snap of the game that is going to give 5 yards to the Rebels. And sloppiness for the Blue Jays is costing them here in the early going. Shotgun formation for Jones. He wanted the ball quickly. He got it, squirted to the near side, and then tried to find a gap up around the 35-yard line. It was sealed off at the 33, and it'll bring up second and short.
You know, that's something that, again, we're talking week 2 of high school football here. In and out of the huddle, on and off the field. I mean, you have to be very mindset. They got Jefferson with an encroachment penalty even before the offense, as soon as that center touches the ball, if a defender steps into that neutral zone and the offense is in the ready set position, you get it. You just have to be a little bit more disciplined. As you said, it's a little sloppy right now, but we're still in week 2 of high school ball.
Second penalty of the night against the Blue Jays so far. Max Woods will get the handoff, makes a man miss at the line of scrimmage, and then squirts out to the 40-yard line. A 6-yard pickup on the carry for the Rebel junior. And the Rebels accumulated more than 200 yards of rushing a week ago. They are well on their way to that number here tonight as they've closed in on the 100-yard mark. Aided, of course, by big runs by Foster, who will get the handoff this time and nothing doing. There is a lot of traffic straight up the middle, including Aiden Dowd, a 5'10", 225-pound senior, clogging the hole for the Blue Jays there.
You know, one thing watching these defensive ends, there's girth on this Blue Jays defensive line. But the one thing you have to do and be careful as we're in this first quarter, though, if you're the Blue Jays and you're the D-line coach, you got to watch how much depth your D-lines are getting around the edge. You're giving some 2-run alleys in there. You got to be very careful. You're putting your middle linebackers on some islands to where it's a one-on-one with 3 backs out of the backfield.
That's the end of the opening quarter, a quarter that was controlled by the Central Rebels. 2 long scores by Karis Foster, carrying them to a 12-0 lead after 12 minutes of play on Parkland Sports Live.
It's Mark Tody here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington.
Rebels back to the attack offensively, facing a 3rd and 4 from their own 40-yard line as we flip sides of the field. And once again, they'll do some shuffling around offensively. This has got to give you fits as a defense. Every time that Jefferson starts to try to get set, they get a new look from the Rebels. Looking to pass is Jones. Near side has a man. Foster comes back, picks it up at the 25, makes a man miss, tries to tippy-toe the sideline, and he is in for the score. Wow! 60-yard pass. And Foster outran the defender, came back to it, and then the gymnast-like work down the near sideline to find pay dirt.
I don't think there's any doubting on what Jackson's able to do for this offense. I think if you're any team, you came back, we asked this question earlier when Mike asked, what do you do? You know, how do you translate? I mean, this is the 2024 squad where you've got a quarterback of thickness. You've got a quarterback that can also sling a 60-yard touchdown pass to an unbelievably fast sophomore.
And that sophomore made an unbelievable play coming back, but just Jackson Jones to be able to, on 3rd down, I know you've got to be thinking run in that situation, middle of the field, and he just flung it up there. Like you said, a guy that size doesn't look like he should be able to throw that tight of a spiral, but it was a nice-looking pass as Foster tries the 2-point conversion, and that is one thing that has not worked well for the Rebels here tonight so far. But again, I go back to what I said coming in. I made notes that it wasn't the quick strike offense of years past. All we've seen is quick strike after quick strike. It's been fun to watch these Rebels starting out here tonight.
You bet. And I mean, they're still in a pretty good tempo here for a run-heavy offense right now. I mean, they're still doing a really good job of getting in and out the play calls from the sideline on the wristers. But, you know, last year or years past, you're used to a 15, 20-second, automatic, ball's dead, 20 seconds, ball snap. Now it's about a 20-second, we're to the line of scrimmage. But it's hard for this Blue Jay defense, though, to get these formations correct. They are outmatching you by alignment and formations almost every single rep, except for when they go to their spread offense. It doesn't help having, it's almost a thunder and lightning duo in the backfield. Yeah. It truly is. It's almost taking you back to the days of this one's going to pound it and this one's fast, a scat back versus the rock coming through the hole. If you're Jefferson, all you can do right now is stick to your game plan and try to stop this offense.
And one of the things that Corey Schweiss talked about this week in the interview on the Barn podcast is the fact of finding rest for Jackson Jones, the way he plays middle linebacker, the way he plays quarterback. Opening up a lead like this, I think, is a perfect opportunity to do just that. As another short kick is fielded at about the 32-yard line, and Bruns will bring it out and set up shop for Jefferson. But a great opportunity for maybe Jackson Jones to catch wind, but as soon as I say that, there he goes. He's
not missing on defense. There's no way Coach Jones is going to let his son take a rep off at the middle linebacker because he's controlling both the offense and the defense. Years past, he was a special teams guy too. With the situation we have now, obviously you want to pull him off special teams being the quarterback, but at the same point, this may be a chance if the game continues like this for some younger guys to get in and get that Friday Night Light repetition.
After this play, we'll check in with Mike Reeves, who's made his way to the Jefferson sideline. Jefferson trying to find something here offensively, and they'll look down the middle of the field. Nobody home, 3 Rebel defenders, and 1 Jefferson Blue Jay. It falls incomplete. Mike Reeves, what do you have for us, sir?
Guys, I'm going to go back to the touchdown play because I had an angle from the opposite end zone, and I thought, no way he stays in bounds as he was kind of tight roping down that. That's an athleticism, too, that was overlooked maybe a little bit on a play like that. The throw is there. He makes that play, but then the speed. Guys, I'm seeing a lot tonight that there's going to be to like about the Rebel team here in this so far this first half.
Cooper Frisk trying to hit a sideline pass, looking for Hafner, and Hafner, everything the Blue Jays are doing right now, everything just looks like too much of a hurry. Instead of sitting back, relaxing, they're panicking a little bit.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say, Brandon. Right now, it looks like it's almost like a little bit of anxiety, sports anxiety. You're not breathing. You're not comfortable. Passes aren't exactly on point. That screen pass, nobody was even close to him. Just relax and play football here.
And Frisk will try to come up with something on 3rd and 10, and this time it is a handoff. A little sweeper goes to Weiss, and Weiss had well over 100 yards all-purpose for the Blue Jays last week, and he'll pick up just a couple there, and that quickly it'll bring up 4th down. And you feel like for the Blue Jays, if they could just pick up a first down and settle themselves maybe, things might look different. But we're staring at a 4th and 8, and they're lining up like they're going to go for it as Frisk now again will drop back, ready to punt. Foster was deep anyway, not going to fall for it. And Foster will try to catch it out of midair. No, he'll let it go. And again, it takes a big Blue Jay bounce, and it'll roll inside the 20 and be touched down at the 17-yard line. So 3 scoring drives tonight. And the guy who let that ball bounce inside the 20-yard line has been a part of all of them. Foster, a 63-yard run, a 15-yard run, and a 60-yard reception. He has surpassed 150 all-purpose yards. We still have 10:48 left to go, second quarter.
I think right now, when Jefferson gets the ball back, I think if you're Coach Atley, you got to start maybe decompressing, maybe start, hey, small strides here. First down's the most important thing right now. Just move the ball. Get a first down. Let's chip some time off this clock.
Build off small things. Nick Fowler, the wide receiver, to the near side of the field. Max Woods stands to the right of the quarterback Jones, and he'll become a lead blocker as they try to go in the hole across the 20 to the 21-yard line. And a pickup of about 4 by Jones. That's his 5th carry of the night. He's up to 20 yards on those 5 carries.
And you're to a point now where you've gotten through the first quarter. Sometimes it takes halfway through the first quarter for your nerves to settle down. Now don't be surprised if you start to see that schematic X's and O's off of Coach Schweiss and his offense start to chip away here at these Blue Jays.
Jackson Jones looking to pass. Man wide open, middle of the field. That was Henson, and it fell incomplete. He looked to run with it. Somehow he found the space in the defense, because when that ball was initially thrown, I was like, oh, there's a lot of white and blue there, and all of a sudden he squirted free, but it falls incomplete.
And I think that was one, he saw so much grass ahead of him. He turned his eyes around the corner, because it was going to be a foot race. It was going to be a track meet for about 52 yards to see who made it. But that's sometimes a little bit of inexperience. We haven't a whole lot of Friday Night Light experience yet.
3rd and 5 situation for Jones. Again, slings that right arm in a lot of traffic. 4 white shirts, 3 blue shirts, and it falls incomplete. Goes through a couple sets of hands. And Jones, we talked about, he threw the interception early on, but he is now 3 of 8 through the air passing, and it brings up 4th and 5 from the 22-yard line. Their own 22 for the Rebels. First time in the last couple drives that it's been decision time for them, and they're coming out like they're going to go for it, sending Foster to the near side, maybe trying to draw people off sides, and might have had a false start along the Rebel offensive line. That's exactly what we'll have, and it'll be the second penalty on them.
That's a little rough, because you're in a situation now where you're at 4th and 5. If you get that encroachment, your offense is right back on, and you're looking to maybe go down the field and put another touchdown in to start this second quarter, or partially through the second quarter. Whereas now you got to make a decision. You're at 4th and 10.
Jones now will turn around and punt, and he angles this one away from the return man Hafner. It takes a Rebel bounce high in the air and rolls its way inside the 35 to the 34, where Henson will touch it down there. We mentioned Mike Reeves is on the sideline with the Blue Jays right now. What is the atmosphere over on that side, Mike?
Well, as you know, anytime the scoreboard says what it does and things are going the way they're going, which is not good, you can't generate anything on the offensive side. It's hard to generate that enthusiasm, that emotion, and everything that you want. They need something good to happen, and I'm talking about even a big play. It doesn't have to be a score or a big defensive takeaway, because as you might expect, the emotion level, the excitement level from the stands down to the cheerleaders, down to the players, is all at a very low right now.
Hafner will try to change that as he comes near side and stiff arms a couple guys and then gets ridden out of bounds. Nearly a late hit by the Central Rebels, but no flag on the play. A good pickup by Hafner on the first down carry, and it should be enough for a first down.
That's exactly what Mike just said. You just need that one play. Spark yourself, give yourself a little bit of confidence here.
14-yard carry, by far the longest play from scrimmage so far tonight for the Blue Jays, and this time it'll be the quarterback keeping it straight up the middle, and Frisk will pick up a couple.
I think it goes back to what we said. Your game plan for the last few years under Coach Atley is you run the ball, and then you play action pass somebody. Whereas tonight it's been no schematic to that. It's been pass.
A pitch to Hafner going far side, and he'll put out the right hand trying to keep the defender away from him, and he'll pick up 4. So Hafner, who came into the drive with 1 carry, now has 2 on the last 3 plays.
And that's one thing. I mean, they're trying to get outside, but the more that I'm watching this defense, these linebackers, these corners, these safeties, they're flying. It's hard. I mean, he picked up 3 or 4 yards on that play getting to the edge, and that's the first time tonight that Blue Jays have been successful getting to the edge of this Rebel defense.
And Schweiss was there to ride him out of bounds and limit the damage, and this will be a first down for the Blue Jays. A couple of first downs on this drive, that one by Landon Weiss.
In the years of knowing Coach Jones, now they're picking up their tempo. They've got a little spark in them. Coach Jones isn't going to be happy. He's giving up first downs right now.
Fake by the quarterback. He'll keep it himself, and he'll follow the lead man through the hole, and Frisk runs into the pile. Max Woods in there on the tackle, one of the last guys to be picked up off the ground down to the 36-yard line.
Now this is the Jefferson offense we're used to seeing from years past. So you've had 4 plays in a row of good, hard runs. Don't be surprised at some point if they do try to hit there it is.
Play action fake and a little swing pass here to the near side, and Weiss corrals it in, but the defense right there on the spot to pick it up and minimize the damage to a 1-yard gain.
You know, and that right there is the bread and butter of what Coach Atley has done since he's been the head coach there. Is they do such a great job of pounding the rock inside. They've been successful against some other teams running the fly sweep, and then just when you feel comfortable that you're in his pattern in his head, you catch a sweep like that or a screen outside that throws you off.
And Hafner comes across the formation, receives the handoff as soon as it was snapped, and fights his way forward inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. And we talked about Corey Schweiss and the way he has built a winning program. You look at Coach Atley, there's a man in his 4th year now, hasn't had a losing record. 8-3 a year ago, 5-5 the season before that, and 7-3 his first year at the helm. They've started out 1-0, but they've started in a big hole here in this one, and they face a 4th down and 6 as Frisk fakes the handoff. Good rollout, lobs it up, corner of the end zone, and it is caught on the other end of the rainbow, and running it in for the first score of the night is Beeler underneath it and catches it from Frisk, and here come the Blue Jays.
You know, and
that was a beautiful play.
It was a beautiful play, but I don't know if you saw PJ before that. He was yelling that it's that way. You could hear it from up here, even with the headsets. Play action, rolling left, play action, rolling left. And sure, I mean, Coach Jones does a great job on film breakdown. He knew exactly what was coming off of that setup.
Makes the deficit 18-6, and the Blue Jays will go for 2, and right at the snap of the football, we have a false start. That's going to make it a little more difficult.
You know, and just the central coaching staff in general, you have a punt. You know, on offense, you stalled out. You threw a couple really heat-seeking missiles off of Jackson Jones to some receivers. One that should have probably been a touchdown. The receiver just dropped it. The next time he threw into traffic a little bit with the fastball. But then you get to a situation now where you give up a touchdown. So you kind of see that shift in the momentum here. So it's going to be interesting to see what we get off the central offense.
While we have a second, let's go down to Mike Reeves. Mike, what do you have for us, sir?
Guys, there's 2 things. One, what I said before that possession, they needed something good to feel good, revive that energy on the sideline, and accomplish. No, a totally different looking team after you get that. But being on field level, you get a chance to hear and see some things that obviously you can't see where you guys are. Jackson Jones plays defense, and this won't surprise Jake at all. He plays defense with that mentality. Every time that opponent gets a yard, it's like somebody came in and stole his dinner from him. He is like, you're not supposed to get a yard, much less a scoring drive. But you see that in his intensity and the way he's talking to teammates. He won't be happy with that one, and I'm sure that, again, Jake, not a surprise to you.
No, by no means. I mean, if you know anything about the man that he's cut from, you know, I'm not sure. I would have to do my stats on this, so I may throw out a completely, maybe not factual, but I'm going to say it anyway. At one point, his father was at Missouri State, or back then Southwest Missouri State, the leading tackler in that program's history as a middle linebacker. So if that doesn't tell you a little bit of what Jackson Jones is coming from, I mean, you're never going to get a sense of what this young man is.
And my son had some time to do some baseball hitting with Jackson last winter, and that ball kicked on the ground by the Blue Jays, and we'll see. Looked like the Rebels pounced on it. They definitely did, and there's a whistle and a flag coming in as there's some extracurriculars. But one of the things I love about Jackson, getting to know him, watching those two work together, is the sense of humor and the kind of person he is, and just a leader on any field he's on. It's fantastic to watch a kid that is that age be that mature.
Well, you think about what's putting on his plate right now. You're controlling the Central Rebel offense, which has a history of being known what it's known for. You have him at the helm or in control of the Central defense, who's also known for their tenacity. But to see the switch that the kid can flip to be a good leader off the field, I mean, as a head football coach, that's what you're wanting. You're wanting to raise these young men to be community members, to raise, the next generation behind them, but yet to step on the gridiron inside the white lines, you're somebody's worst enemy.
False start called on the kickoff, and we'll tee it up again for the Jefferson Blue Jays. And this time, Central anticipating an onside, and we'll see if the Blue Jays instead decide to kick it away or what their approach is with Dakota French. Approaching the football, and a low line drive that takes a high hop. Henson picks it up at the 24, races across the 30 to the 35, upended and somersaulted at the 38-yard line, and that's where Central will take over. 7:09 left to go in the first half of play. It's Central with an 18-6 lead over the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays just scoring moments ago to get on the board.
It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Schweiss, Coach Bridges, because I call them co-coordinators, because I know Coach Schweiss embeds a lot into Jake Bridges. It's going to be interesting to see if they flip that switch, as you can somewhat say, to see if they don't have a little bit more wind in their sail on this push.
Foster will get it, racing around right side. Run through an arm tackle, make a man miss as he crosses the 45 and then get popped off his feet by, again, the leading tackler of the Blue Jays. That is Crater. But there was a whistle or a flag down on the play. Looks like it's going to be a hold against the Rebels, maybe about the spot where he made the second man miss.
Yeah, it was hard to tell whether they're going to get a hold on that edge or whether it was a block in the back, because he made that cut back inside, which usually at that situation, you're trying to ride that defender out. And if you're not careful, you get outside that free blocking zone, your hands slip to the back, and they'll get you.
Foster, a heck of a playmaker so far tonight. Runs of 63 yards and 15 for scores. He has hauled in a 60-yard pass for a touchdown as well. And after the penalty, goes 10 yards from the spot. We will see the ball placed down on the 32-yard line of the Rebels. 1st and 10, 3 wide receivers to the near side. Henson stays in close. Jackson Jones trying to elude pressure. Now he's going to turn it upfield and run through a couple arm tackles before he is ridden down to the ground, crossing the 35 to the 36-yard line, giving chase, and eventually grabbing on and making sure he didn't go anywhere was Troy Jefferson from that defensive line spot. It's another thing that's impressive about Jones, that play in particular. Most guys at this level are thinking in the back of their head, oh, shoot, I'm running out of time. And he looked cool as a cucumber, just breaking through there and picking up 8.
And being the corner and safety, though, seeing him roll out at 200-plus pounds isn't a great feeling knowing what's coming either.
He gives to Henson, and Henson with a head of steam crosses the 40, but then is just ricocheted backwards. A heavy hit as Hafner stopped him in his tracks, but it'll bring up 3rd and manageable. It'll be a 3rd and about 6 for the Rebels. We're inside of 6 minutes left to go in the first half, and with the stoppage in play gives us an opportunity to remind you about Southeast Missouri Mental Health, providing mental health services since 1903 right here in Farmington. We serve over 350 patients and have over 1,000 employees. We're one of the largest employers in St. Francis County and are growing. You can find out how you can become part of our family by scheduling an interview today at dmh.mo.gov or call 573-218-6800. That's 573-218-6800. Fun, entertaining night of football in week number 2 and week number 3 on Parkland Sports Live. Going to, and the Parkland podcast, going to bring a couple of games your way. Thursday night, a team you know quite well from being a prior coach will be in action on the podcast.
Yeah, that'll be. It's always nice to go back and see the kids you coach. Next week pick up the Central and Fredericktown game. And that's what's funny though is we watch this game and the game that's going on up at Herky this week. You got both those teams going to be the opponents for both of these teams next week. So one of the Black Cats is going to get a win tonight, but they also get to face both of these teams.
Out of the timeout, we got a 3rd and about 7 coming up, and Jones is going to throw back near side of the field, and it is just wide of the intended target. Black falls incomplete. Young freshman couldn't reel it in, and it'll bring up 4th down for Central. Those Battle of the Black Cats have been historic over the years, too.
They have, and, I got a chance to coach against Blaine Boss, who I also got to play against in high school. We brought that up pregame talking, and, it's always fun, though, to see the guys who come back, the MAAA schools or the I-55 conferences, the guys you played against, to be taking the helm of some of these programs. But, a few years back, the Black Cats versus Black Cats was one of the most fun games I've been a part of. But by all means, one of them is going to get a win tonight.
And a low snap and a punt by Jones to Hafner, who fields it at the 20. Stiff arms a man and pops free down the far sideline across the 35 and eventually ran out of bounds at about the 38-yard line with 5:44 left to go second quarter. Blue Jays will take over. Having recently put points on the board, they're looking to claw their way back into this one, and this is kind of what we talked about. If they could just find some momentum and settle down, felt like it'd be a good game.
Well, that's what you have to do, though. I mean, you look at your schedule, you see who you played last week, you come from behind win, you see Central on your schedule, they're still going to be stout. But at the same point, and I think I sent somebody this week, in the history of what I can remember from the time Jefferson's taken over, they've only lost 2 open week 1 games.
One of the guys in this booth was the head coach on one of those games.
Wasn't going to say anything about that, but what I was going to say, but the play took off, for a gain of 1 there, bringing up a 2nd and 9. What I was going to say on that is week 2 sometimes a different story for a team. As a high school football team, you make your biggest strides week 2, but sometimes you also face a bigger opponent, which doesn't really reflect the growth you make from week 1 to week 2.
Crater with the carry there on the 1-yard gain. And Frisk out of the shotgun will check his wrists, get the play, and give the handoff. Hafner coming near side, tried to reverse direction, but nothing doing. Max Woods knifed through there from his linebacker spot and was able to make the play, and textbook tackle there by the young junior.
And it looks like, we talked about the wind switching, the sail direction. We went from a punt from Central to giving up a touchdown, whereas now you see that Central's, back to what Coach Jones expects, and you can tell by the way he's demanding from the sideline that was not acceptable for his standards. You can tell on his 3rd and 9 play that they have done their job holding strong.
Frisk will sprint near side and then try to throw back over the middle, and it falls incomplete. Tried to find Ussery, who hauled in a few passes last week in week number 1 against Priory. Couldn't hang on to that one, as for a young quarterback, dangerous pass. Lucky for him, it fell incomplete.
It is, and I mean, it's tough, though. You got to make something play, and sometimes when you have to try to make something play, you have mistakes that come with it. So it's just calm down. I mean, you still have half a game to play. You don't know what the second half's going to entitle to you, but if you don't start to gain your composure here, you're faced with the 4th and 9. So, the biggest thing here coming out of this timeout that Coach Jones had to call, he didn't have his special teams the way he wanted it. The one thing you have to do coming out of this is to make sure get the punt off, get a good snap. If you are indeed punting, which they're somewhat deep into their territory, make sure you get the ball down the field to switch directions here so you don't get a block and give up an easy special teams touchdown.
A couple of the other games going on around the area. Salem playing Potosi, the Trojans with a 20-0 second quarter lead in that one. St. Genevieve Dragons, we talked about before we went on the air tonight. Shocker of the week, maybe for me, was watching the Dragons give up 50-plus points and be shut out last week. Not going to be shut out this week. They're leading U City 14-0 second quarter action. North County Raiders with a 17-13 lead over Glenwood, Illinois. I'll be honest, hadn't heard of Glenwood High School prior to this week when I was prepping for this game.
And that's one of those, sometimes right now in high school sports, it's hard to field teams. It's hard to field schedules. You don't know year to year, week to week. So to pick up a team from Illinois is not that uncommon anymore.
A punt by Frisk, and Foster will pick it up. Nearly lost the handle, then sprints to the near side and tried to stop on a dime. He could not. Stepped out of bounds, and now we're going to have a late hit. Late hit by the Blue Jays, in a heck of a making something out of nothing by a phenomenal sophomore for the Central Rebels in Foster.
And that right there, that's a little bit of a composure deal. I will say this. I know we have headphones on. I had not heard a whistle at that point. It looked like he was tiptoeing down the sideline, and he kind of stopped thinking he was already out of bounds. I hadn't heard the whistle. And then you have a young man come in and finish a play like that. It was a very aggressive tackle. Hopefully it's just an unsportsmanlike and nothing else comes about of that.
And on the flip side of that, I will say you can also feel bad for the guy who knows that every time the Rebels have scored, it's been in that guy's hands. And if he stops and makes a cut back to the middle, he could be gone.
Correct.
So he's lowering his head, trying to make the play, but a little too aggressive in that situation. And it'll cost his team possibly in a big way because it's going to take the ball down around the 20-yard line.
So that's the downside for where he had returned that ball to, adding on the unsportsmanlike 15. I mean, you're giving it inside. I know the high school doesn't technically call a red zone, but you're inside the 20-yard line now based on that penalty, and they haven't even snapped the ball yet.
Mike Reeves pointing something out, communicating here. The Rebels not very happy with the special teams play of late and have made some special teams changes. We'll elaborate on that as we kind of go on, but that's what you've kind of been talking about, Jake, is coaches have a high standard with this program, and they're not afraid to make some changes if changes need to be made.
No, and I mean, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you got to let it be known that we are going to do things our way, the right way, and if you're not doing it the way that I would assume the Rebel way, so to speak, from these guys, if you're not doing it the way that we're instructing you to do it, we will find somebody else to do it, to teach you this is how we expect things to be done.
So the Rebels will take over in great field position here as the ball. Still talking about where it goes after the foul there on the return. I think we're still trying to get that set, situated, orchestrated.
Well, it looks like Coach Atley was wanting to make sure that there wasn't anything extra to it, and the white hat was over explaining to him, this is why, this was, the outcome of it. It was, I think, more of anything, he did lift him off the ground, but it was the finish. For being a wrestling coach and being a former wrestler, it was a great double leg finish out of bounds. But at the same point, you have to be smart. I mean, it was right on the Central sideline. You have to be very smart. Central did a great job composing their team, composing their sideline. It's just one of those, like you said, it's unfortunate because of where they get the ball.
And the ball will be placed just inside the 15-yard line as Jones looks back to the Rebel sideline for the play. He lines up with the three backs behind him. Give to the deep man, Foster. Again, first contact, never bringing him down. He spun free at the 10, popped out again at the 8, and finally driven down at the 6-yard line in a pickup of 8 on first down.
That's one of those guys that when you come into a week of preparation and you're watching film as a coach on Sunday, you've got to be extremely careful. How are we going to plan for this? Because there's probably nobody on our team that can rep a scout team look like what you're getting, both from Jackson Jones' physicality and size, as we talked about, and then also to the quick lightning strike of how fast this run game is for the Central Rebels.
Foster has touched it on the ground 7 times tonight. That's a guy that averaged 10 yards a carry last week. He's up over that this week. And Jackson Jones, now you got to try to tackle him as he barrels straight ahead, lowers the shoulder, and he will get in for the score. That thunder and lightning you were talking about. Jackson Jones just providing the thump on a touchdown carry of 6 yards.
I want to touch the physicality whenever it's not even a design QB so it's just a straight QB sneak that goes 6 yards with you winding up 3 yards deep into the end zone. It just tells you the physicality of both the center, the guards, but also the quarterback running behind them.
And a tough guy to bring down. Jackson Jones' 7th carry gets him into the end zone. And we'll see if the Rebels can make good on a 2-point conversion. That is the one thing they've failed to do so far tonight. And fighting near the goal line was Foster, waved off, no good yet again. 3:20 left to go, opening half of play. The Rebels back on the scoreboard, aided on that drive by a big penalty by the Blue Jays. It's Central 24 and Jefferson 6 on Parkland Sports Live.
Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Along with Jake Whitener and Mike Reeves, I'm Brandon Geiler. Glad to have you along tonight for week number 2 of high school football. And the Central Rebels, who jumped out to an 18-0 lead and then saw the Blue Jays of Jefferson tack 6 on the board, have just bounced back with another score. 3:20 away from halftime. And a pooch kick angled far side of the football field, picked up by the Blue Jays and raced across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. And that's where the guys in the blue and white will take over. Before we see their offense, we'll check in with Mike Reeves, who has made his way back to the central sideline. And Mike, every time you come to that sideline, they seem to score.
Well, and that was a great answer. And that's what I liked about. We talk about this, I don't care what the sport is, and fellas, you've been involved with it forever. How do you respond to adversity? Because it's going to happen. High school kids sometimes, first sign of adversity, it's, oh no, it's going wrong. You just come back, next play, all that. I love that response on that offensive drive right there. I love that, hey, they scored, we got the ball back. We had some mistakes on our most previous offensive possessions, especially a couple drop passes, but you come right back, move it down the field, and extend that lead back out to 3 scores.
Flags on the play as maybe a free play for the Blue Jays. Going down the field, Henson had an interception go through his hands at the 40 right in front of us. We'll see what the flag's about. And the other thing about that response, Mike, great point. Foster on the punt return nearly lost the handle, so what could have been a disastrous situation just moments prior for the Central Rebels ended up in 6 more points up on the scoreboard.
Guys, I will say this, though, about that play. Yes, what you said is absolutely true, but I like a player that has his breakaway ability. I'm okay with them taking occasional risk, and that's a bit of a risky play to pick that up, but you got a lot of reward on the other side of it.
Well, you bet. And I mean, that's one thing that you don't see anymore because of the punting style or the amount of leg that a punter has. You don't see a whole lot of punt returns anymore. I mean, if you're Central, you did because you had a guy by the last name of Mr. Bryant that was able to do whatever he wanted. But that's a missing art anymore of special teams.
He rewrote the record books here at Central. By the way, the penalty was on the Blue Jays. It was declined since it was an incomplete pass. And then the next pass, incomplete as well. Frisk, who recently connected for a 34-yard touchdown, has seen the last 3 attempts by his right arm fall to the ground. Bring up 3rd and 10. Frisk will take the snap, fake the handoff, roll near side, look middle of the field, off the paws of Henson and popped up in the air, and Schweiss nearly swooped in underneath for an interception. Instead, it is incomplete. Beeler was the man who caught the touchdown a few moments back for the Blue Jays, and he was the intended target there near the midfield marker.
The head coaching part of me is coming back and just thinking this through. You had 3:15 on the clock when you got this ball. You're on your half of the field. To me, it seems logical, even though they have timeouts, try to run the ball. Try to get some clock off of this so they don't have a chance to score again.
I will say I'm surprised by the amount of throwing and clock stopping. I joked with you that we may be done by 8:30 coming into this, the way the two teams ran the ball in week number 1, and a punt is going to be down at the 20-yard line. And that possession took a total of 23 seconds off the clock?
And that's hard.
Including the punt.
And that's the hardest part about it is you're in a situation right now where it's proven that Central doesn't want to kick extra points. Right now they want to go for 2. So you're in a situation that the turbo clock isn't really in effect coming out of halftime. You're only down 24-0. But from my perspective, you're in a situation where you've got to get something going. I understand taking a shot, try to get that touchdown or get that ball down the field, but also don't cripple yourself. Don't put yourself behind the 8 ball here.
Rebels back to the offensive attack and fighting, tugging, pulling. Foster finally going to be bounced to the ground, but he picks up 5. And again, I am amazed because he is not the biggest guy, but he finds a way to make guys miss and just pop free.
Well, he's running like a man angry. He's got passion every time he touches the ball. His pad level goes down until he gets to the linebacker depth. At that point, he makes his first move, which is a great trait to have as a running back. But then on top of that, he runs with aggression behind his pads.
Clock is moving, and now Central will set up 2nd and 4 from the 26-yard line. And Jones, a delayed handoff as he got into the pile, or Jones squirted free, I should say, and picks up the first down. Across the 35 to the 37. 9 or 11-yard pickup on that one. That's the longest run of the night for Jones.
And you said it took 23 seconds off the clock. That's a lot of time for Central. They've proven they can get the ball down the field in just a few seconds. So, again, not second-guessing the coaching philosophy here, but I would not leave Central any time on the clock if the ball were in my hands.
And Jones may have been shaken up on that last tackle. He is favored that hand prior to clapping it a couple times and taking the snap, and he gives to Woods, and Woods will be popped off his feet at the 38-yard line. Just got across the line of scrimmage, maybe a pickup of 1 or 2.
And something about Jackson is as physical as he plays at both the linebacker and quarterback position. You have to do some wear and tear on your body. He's a kid who's very athletic, but at the same time has high demand and what he expects. As we said, he has that killer instinct on the field. So to see that, you have to think that rigor, that day in, day out, at some point, you're going to have to collect yourself.
And it's been a physical brand of football here tonight as a Blue Jay shaken up and aided to the far sideline. And we'll bring Mike Reeves back into the fold here. And Mike, you can kind of see the effects of the hard hits that have been going on the last couple minutes down there on the sideline.
And honestly, guys, what I think more about, yes, it's tonight, it's the first half of week 2. I watch these players that play both sides of the ball, and I think about the wear and tear by the time we get to late October. And the amount of times you've been hit and how many times you've had to just play through it, barring that it was a significant injury. But there is no doubt you already got guys down here that are playing both ways that are feeling it tonight. And we're talking great weather, everything else. It is a wear and tear to play football that way. That's why at the higher levels, virtually nobody does it.
Here's a deep pass by Jones, again looking for Foster. He'll go up in double coverage, somehow come down with it at the 25-yard line. What a pass, what a catch, and a pickup of 38 yards.
I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to defend that. Watching the Blue Jays defense, they were right where they were supposed to be. Both the corner and safety high pointed that ball, but they just got out-leapt off the ground.
You said earlier he's playing like a man possessed, is rolling out to his right and throwing an incomplete pass as Jones, and he just wanted it more in that situation. He went up and he pulled that ball down and was able to make that play. A young sophomore, as we're inside a minute, 39 seconds to be exact, left to go in the first quarter, or the first half of play, and Central looking for more up on the board. Wow, what a night by Foster. And we still have 24 minutes of a second half.
This is only the first half of football.
There's a screen pass wide open. The Rebel receiver catches it and then runs into 2 tacklers. There is a flag down on the play, so we'll see what that is all about.
Looks like they're going to call holding maybe on Central here.
And that'll cost Central 10 yards. That, according to my count, only the 3rd penalty against them in this first half.
just looking at the phone, looking for updates, but then you look at what the man Chad Winch says. Pretty nostalgic on this. Number 11's coming out party. You can't be more correct.
Absolutely, and he is having a whale of a night. They're going to look for him again. Corner of the end zone. He is there. Catches the rainbow. 35 yards away this time. 2 catches on the drive. 73 yards of space taken up, and he adds to the advantage 30-6. My goodness.
So to reiterate what Mike had asked earlier, it's 2024. You put the Central Rebels on your schedule, what can you expect? A whole lot of number 11 coming down the chute at you.
Right. Holy cow. It was eye-popping for me to see a young sophomore averaging 10 yards last week per touch and having over 100 yards all-purpose. But that pales in comparison to what he's done tonight. Unreal.
Just watching him come off from his stance at the receiver, I mean, he does a great job of delaying his approach.
A slant into the end zone on the 2-point conversion falls incomplete as Henson couldn't hang on. Maybe a little too much heat from Jackson Jones on that one. We'll go ahead and keep it here just ahead of halftime. 20.2 seconds left to go before we go to the locker room. And if you're just joining us, it's been the Karis Foster Show pretty much from the outset. 63-yard touchdown rush on the third play of the game. He added another 15-yard touchdown rush, 60-yard reception, and then a 35-yard reception just moments ago. At half, I'm going to have to take some time, see if we have any all-purpose yard, total touchdown records for Central, because he's having a night for sure. He is putting together something special, and it has been fun to watch.
And I'm sure from the Central crowd, if you're a spectator in the stands, coming from what you've had these last 4 years with some of these spectacular names here, to see a young man like that, it's like, holy smokes, we have another one in the making.
Here we go again, is what you can say if you're a Central Rebel faithful, and that ball taken at the 25 and bottled up, ridden down, is Landon Weiss, who had a big night for the Blue Jays in week number 1. Hasn't been able to get going here in week 2. Fun night of football gives us an opportunity while we have a stoppage in play to remind you to tune in for the Parkland podcast. Mark Tody and Jason Lowry every Monday morning for the Parkland podcast, covering news, sports, events, and birthdays every week, plus bringing you the most interesting and compelling interviews. That is the Parkland podcast with Jason Lowry and Mark Tody. One of my favorite things is Tote's totally awesome radio stories.
You never know what you're going to get with that man.
No. Spent many years around him, and he is a surprise waiting to happen. There is a slant, and Weiss, we just talked about him moments ago, is going to pick up 15 and take the ball out to the 45-yard line for the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays will take a timeout. While we have a minute, Jake, I expected run coming in, and it's been the passing, especially of the Rebels, especially of Jackson Jones, and seeing the tight spirals he throws, and that connection between him and Foster could be something special.
It can be, and you need that, though. I mean, you got to have something. That you beat Owensville with the run game last week. The final push that they put into the touchdown, they took like 7-something minutes off the clock in that fourth quarter. So to be able to have an offense that can control the clock like that, but then to also have an offense like this, that 3 plays, you've marched the ball 71 yards on a touchdown, or, to be able to throw the ball 40, 50 yards in the air to a receiver that can outrun a lot of the defense. I mean, it says something about what you are, as we said, what Corey Schweiss and his group is building. That camaraderie, that faith that they have in each other. I mean, you're right. We all came in expecting a run game. You know, we had kind of a little wager. Is it going to be Central or is it going to be Farmington's game that's over quicker? But right now, I mean, watching him throw the ball, I'd stay here until midnight watching Jackson put the ball in the air.
Oh, it's been fun to watch, and his future opponents of Central, they're going to have their hands full preparing for this attack. Is that ball thrown over the middle? It is picked off by guess who? At the 35-yard line, Jackson Jones comes up with the interception at the last play of the first half, and that is kind of poetic in itself, that a man that has had that kind of first half, it was either him or Foster that needed to come up with that interception.
And I was just going to say that before we talked about the run game difference.
And as the Rebels run off to the locker room, Mike Reeves standing by with Corey Schweiss.
We'll keep the halftime talk quick. It'll be 2 questions. We'll start negative. What did you not like about half one?
Well, the penalties were better. I know that's a positive, but we didn't execute some of the catches we should have made in that first half. You know, that's the thing. I gave the guys a little bit more opportunities this week. We didn't really throw it much last week. I wanted to give the boys more opportunities because I feel like we're going to have to do that in order to be as good as we want to be down the road, and we just didn't execute the catches. So when they have the opportunities, they're going to have to make the plays.
Very predictable. Second question, what did you like most about the first half?
Well, I liked the effort. I thought defensively we were awesome. We had one little mistake in the secondary on the touchdown we gave up. But other than that, defensively, I thought we played awesome. Offensively, you know, I felt like we executed everything but the catch. Like, I thought we blocked well. I thought we ran routes well. I thought Jackson threw the ball, other than the one pick he had early in the game that kind of he underthrew that guy. But other than that, Jackson led him really well. Obviously, Karras showed what he can do. So pretty good first half.
Talk to you afterward.
Thanks.
Guys, back up to you. That's the head coach of the Rebels. That's Corey Schweiss.
Mike Reeves down on the sideline and has to be very pleased, does Corey Schweiss, with what his young squad has been able to do, again, on home opener night when you're coming off the state championship and everybody kind of talking about that coming in, but this squad here creating their own identity here this evening.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, I wanted to get Coach Schweiss's take on this before I said it. But I was thinking, you know, we talked about it was run game last week, but at some point against some opponent, and whether it was Jefferson this week or, you know, maybe it's Fredericktown next week, you know, you have to exploit what you're good and bad at in the passing game. You've got to be able to be that two-headed monster of, can Jackson do this when it's a crunch time situation? Can he put the ball on a dime whenever we need that late comeback pass? And I think that right there was a perfect example in 24 minutes of football of what this Central Rebels team is going to be moving forward. And I think it's one of those that you still go back and highlight your schedule. Central's coming to town, or we've got to go to Rebel Stadium.
The Rebels had a 12-0 lead after one quarter. After 2 quarters of play, they punched a little further of a hole into it. They lead the Blue Jays of Jefferson by a count of 30-6. Should be a fun second half. We'll have the call for you here on Parkland Sports Live.
high school stick flavor? I didn't even think of that. What, you got a hot name? Better get Where at?
Marching Rebels begin their competition season on September 21st at the Farmington Invitational. Good luck, Marching Rebels.
Good job, Dad!
For your halftime entertainment, the Central Dance Team will be performing.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health Center has been providing mental health services since 1903. We are located in beautiful Farmington, Missouri, and serve upwards of 350 patients. With over 1,100 employees, we are the largest employer in St. Francis County.
I think is always in our mission is to get those guys to the place where they can be released in the community and live their lives.
But what makes SMMHC so special?
There's room for advancement, the good benefits.
When you join SMMHC, you're being welcomed into our family. Find us at dmh.mo.gov.
Service, affordability, and selection. Those are the cornerstones of Pettis Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Farmington. You'll see the selection when you drive by their lot at the Fairgrounds exit. You'll notice the affordability when you talk to their experienced salespeople. And you'll love the service when you take your new Pettis Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram in for maintenance. New or pre-owned, cars, trucks, SUVs, and anything else in between. Pull into Pettis Chrysler Dodge Ram of Farmington today. 431-7800. PettisAutos.com.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health is looking to hire a diversion recovery coach. The DRC would be part of a forensic mobile team serving the central, east, and southeast regions of Missouri. A degree in social work, psychology, or other closely related field is preferred. Experience in community mental health, forensic mental health, and substance use disorders is required. Individuals with case management and psychiatric rehabilitation experience will receive preferential consideration. Specialized licensure or certification is also preferred. To apply, go to dmh.mo.gov and click on Employment Opportunities or call 573-218-6800.
Hey, it's Mark Toady here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington.
We're Keith and Tiffany, founders of Notes for Hope.
At Notes for Hope, we believe music can be a powerful tool, and we are dedicated to promoting suicide awareness and prevention through the healing power of music.
Like providing instruments and journals to local students that could use the outlet for healing.
So whether through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word,
by supporting our mission, you help bring comfort and hope to those struggling with mental health challenges. Hang out with us for an all-day music event at the Park Hills Underground, September 21st.
And visit notesforhope.net to learn more. Together we can turn melodies into hope.
Life can feel like an uphill climb, but no one has to face it alone. Everest Counseling, based in Farmington, has been empowering individuals and families for over 20 years, offering support through life's toughest challenges. Specializing in at-risk youth and serving rural communities, the experienced and compassionate team provides the guidance and the tools necessary to thrive. Whether you're dealing with stress, anxiety, trauma, family conflicts, or just need someone to talk to, Everest Counseling provides personalized services to meet your needs. Contact Everest Counseling today at 573-330-4452.
Thanks for tuning in to Parkland Sports Live in conjunction with the Parkland Podcast, brought to you as always by The Barn. The Barn is an emerging media company and podcast network based in Southeast Missouri, with popular podcasts such as The Tippy Joe Show, Vulgar Display of Podcast, Birds and Swords, Midwest Mixtape Podcast, Knuckleball Prime Time, Struggle Street Sessions, Bible Talk at the Barn, Girl Dad, and Third Eye Review. The Barn is proud to provide a little something for everyone, whether it's music, comedy, variety talk, local events, mental health, movies, gaming, and more. The Barn is proud to support high school sports.
Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health is looking to hire a diversion recovery coach. The DRC would be part of a forensic mobile team serving the central, east, and southeast regions of Missouri. A degree in social work, psychology, or other closely related field is preferred. Experience in community mental health, forensic mental health, and substance use disorders is required. Individuals with case management and psychiatric rehabilitation experience will receive preferential consideration. Specialized licensure or certification is also preferred. To apply, go to dmh.mo.gov and click on Employment Opportunities or call 573-218-6800.
Hey, it's Mark Toady here, and you know there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington. Looking for top quality custom sportswear and activewear? Look no further than Nouveau Athletic. Nouveau Athletic blends innovative design with affordability, revolutionizing activewear for athletes, teams, and enthusiasts alike. From affordable, high-quality team practice wear to specialty sublimated activewear, Nouveau Athletic has grown to become a leader in sportswear and the industry, especially in cheer. Nouveau Athletic, where passion meets quality in every stitch.
For Nouveau Athletic custom apparel locally, contact Tia Cunningham at 573-701-6015.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health Center has been providing mental health services since 1903. We are located in beautiful Farmington, Missouri, and serve upwards of 350 patients. With over 1,100 employees, we are the largest employer in St. Francis County.
I think is always in our mission is to get those guys to the place where they can be released in the community and live their lives.
But what makes SMMHC so special?
There's room for advancement. They're good benefits.
When you join SMMHC, you're being welcomed into our family. Find us at dmh.mo.gov.
Service, affordability, and selection. Those are the cornerstones of Pettis Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Farmington. You'll see the selection when you drive by their lot at the Fairgrounds exit. You'll notice the affordability when you talk to their experienced salespeople. And you'll love the service when you take your new Pettis Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram in for maintenance. New or pre-owned, cars, trucks, SUVs, and anything else in between. Pull into Pettis Chrysler Dodge Ram of Farmington today. 431-7800. PettisAutos.com.
Ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career? Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their Mac Tech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. Whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you. Welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. Take the first step to a fulfilling career in a Mac Tech program. Apply today at mineralarea.edu.
Southeast Missouri Mental Health is looking to hire a diversion recovery coach. The DRC would be part of a forensic mobile team serving the central, east, and southeast regions of Missouri. A degree in social work, psychology, or other closely related field is preferred. Experience in community mental health, forensic mental health, and substance use disorders is required. Individuals with case management and psychiatric rehabilitation experience will receive preferential consideration. Specialized licensure or certification is also preferred. To apply, go to dmh.mo.gov and click on Employment Opportunities or call 573-218-6800.
Karis Foster leading the way for the Central Rebels in the first half. 242 combined yards, 4 scores, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air for Foster. And Jackson Jones at the quarterback position, 148 yards according to my count. He was 5 for 12 with 2 scores, both of those going to Foster. Had the 2 touchdowns, did throw the 1 interception, but it's been all good for the Central Rebels so far tonight. They lead 30-6 as we get ready for the second half of action. And we bring in Coach Jake Whitener once again. And Jake, as a coach on the other side for the Blue Jays and Jefferson, what kind of things, if you're Coach Atlee, are you stressing to your boys coming out here in this second half? Because anything can happen in 24 minutes of play, but you're also looking toward weeks ahead as well.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, you definitely have to set some tangible goals here for them. You know, whether it's staying on blocks, you know, working for first downs. You know, in the years of trying to rebuild Fredericktown while I was down there, we had games. My first experience was against Jefferson that I got beat 50-0. And in a game like that at halftime, you go in and you try to impose on your kids that if you give up, you know, we don't have anything to build on. If you quit, you can't lay down, keep grinding, keep fighting. You know, you got to be the dog in that fight. But you do. You set tangible goals. You set a goal for yourself as a coaching staff. Hey, we need to try to get X number of first downs, or we need to get X number of yardage. We need to limit our penalties, limit our mistakes. It may be small, I mean extremely small goals, but you gotta express the importance in those small, especially those tangibles that you can fix. But you can't lay down. I mean, you have a game next week against Herky close to home. You know, you're going to be able to rebound on your schedule. Central is a very stout team on your schedule this year. You know, you take your lumps. We all have to take our lumps at some point as a coach. But at the same point, you have to stress to them the still brotherhood, the still family, the camaraderie of each other. Don't quit on each other. Don't quit on your staff. Don't quit on yourself. Let's do this. Let's finish the next 24 minutes with each other.
And meanwhile, for the Central Rebels, I think at this point, we kind of talked about it during the break a little bit, but your mindset has to switch toward keeping everybody healthy for the weeks ahead as well.
Well, and, you know, as we talked earlier, it's funny seeing this game because next week we get to see both these teams play the Black Cats that are playing, you know, right now, Herky and Fredericktown tonight. You know, and you don't know what that outcome's going to be. I haven't had a chance to see Herky this year. I haven't had a chance to see Fredericktown in person this year. But both of those games statistically, and if you look at rosters and on paper, stat lines, I mean, that's games that maybe both of these teams next week, the Blue Jays of Jefferson, have a chance to possibly rebound, do a little bit better performance, clean up their act, so to speak, for next week. But then also, if you're Central, you get a chance to maybe toy around with now seeing that you've got a great run game. You've got more than just Jackson. You've got more than just Foster. The Wood Boys ran the ball pretty stout tonight. But now you've also seen the aerial approach to what that arson can be. You know, you put the ball in the air a few times, and you've shown that you're going to be some people that you've got to plan. You got to have to scheme against us because now we're not just the run-heavy Owensville game last week. But it will be good. It's a great opportunity for both these teams next week. Recoup from tonight because it's been a physical game. But at the same point, you know, set your eyesight ahead for what's to come over these next 2 or 3 weeks.
And 2 games coming up here on the Parkland Sports Live in conjunction with the Parkland Podcast, brought to you as always by The Barn. We'll have a game Thursday night that you alluded to where Fredericktown takes on the Central Rebels, and then back at it again on Friday night as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for these guys. I mean, you have the Jefferson team of old. You know, they still are kind of running their same schematic offense. But it's amazing to see how that transpires, because last year I had a chance to see them deeper into the season and to see how the X's and O's fit the Jimmies and Joes, so to speak. To see how Coach Atlee continues to do that and schematically grow through his career. It's a fun program to watch. And then also from the rebound of the state championship, which after this, everyone's not going to be talking about state championship. It's going to be Jackson Jones and Foster. Yeah. But at the same point, you get to see what the 2024 Rebels are going to be made of as they transpire into the season.
Fresh 12 minutes up on the clock. The Blue Jays, who kicked it away to start the game, will take the opening kickoff here of the second half. And then again, the little pooch kick is fielded by the Blue Jays. They'll have decent field position at the 40-yard line to start out here in this second half. And for the Blue Jays, you had Cooper Frisk, who in that first half had a 34-yard touchdown pass, had a 15-yard completion, but also threw an interception and was 5 of 14 in that first half, coming close to what he did in week 1 when he came up with 88 yards passing. Again, that's all unofficial according to my stats. Could have missed 1 or 2 here or there. Man goes in motion for the Blue Jays, and Frisk will hand off to the deep back, and that's Hafner. Hafner bouncing to the outside. He blows past the 40, inside the 35, down to the 30 before they finally run him out of bounds. And that is the kind of thing you want to see if you're on that Blue Jay sideline.
That's one of those, right there was a goal enough. You have one run of 30, I'm going to say 33, 35 yards, somewhere in there. I'm off on that. But at the same point, you go into this offense in the first half, the Jefferson offense had somewhere less than 100 yards. So you just have a third of your play or a third of your yards on one single play. That's something to build on. So whatever, at halftime, let's just perform, fellas. Come out, relax, let's perform.
A 32-yard play. You weren't very far off on first down. So by far the longest run from scrimmage, longest play from scrimmage tonight unofficially is 34 yards on the touchdown play to Beeler in that first half. And a man down for the Central Rebels. I did not get a number on the man that is down and being stretched out. We haven't talked much about cramps or things like that here tonight, with a little bit of a chill in the air compared to last week, but see how much that plays a factor in this second half and what was a hard-hitting first half.
Well, multiple things on that. Number one, yes, what a change. Welcome to Missouri. You're sweating to start the game last week, and now you almost need to put a jacket on if you're in front of the window here. It's got a little breeze coming through.
If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You may catch snow by the end of the game tonight. But that's one thing. You're going to have this. And that doesn't surprise me. You're one play into the second half. You sat down in the locker room for 15 minutes. You came out, you got a real quick stretch. It's cool tonight, but at the same time, your muscles aren't ready to go from 85, 90-degree days of practice into a cool night like this. Your body hasn't really adapted to that yet. So that's not surprising. The thing that's surprising for me is the first play from scrimmage against a P.J. Jones team, when you're up with the score of what we have here, is that you give up a 30-plus yard run on the first down from scrimmage. Because as we alluded to earlier, that fierce competitive nature of Jackson Jones comes from a single man on that sideline, and to give up a 30-plus yard run, one play into the second half, wouldn't be surprised to see more of a brawl come out of the Central Rebels here.
Man is still down, being stretched out. We'll go ahead and bring in the third member of our team, Mike Reeves, who is down on the sideline. Mike, any indication of who they're working on at this point?
I was even guys talking to a couple of the members of the staff down here, and they're like, we're waiting to find out. They weren't really sure who did just go down. Everybody is comfortable with the fact that it's a cramping issue and nothing more serious than that. Now, if you're the one cramping up, you're thinking, this is serious, because it is a miserable feeling. And you guys know as well as I do, normally it doesn't take this amount of time to get that to stretch out and to loosen up a little bit. So this is one of those, you'll feel this for the next few days. It'll be in there for a while on you once you finally get through and figure out what the heck is happening with that cramp.
And it is the man of the night, Karis Foster, and his 4 touchdowns offensively is the man down being stretched out and now walked across to the sideline by Coach Corey Schweiss, a member of the training staff for the Rebels. Go ahead.
I say not exactly what you want to see. I mean, one play in, that's kind of the guy we were hoping to see a little bit more in the third quarter. But at the same time, with the score of what it is here, it may be a good chance to pull him out, let him get a good stretch in by the trainer before he goes back in to make sure he is available weeks to come.
1st and 10 for the Blue Jays from the 28. Frisk, the quarterback. Hands off to the right side. Hafner, who just had the big run, nothing doing this time. Pick the Rebel who made the tackle that time. Jones, Max Woods, first on the scene, coming up, celebrating. Whole host of tacklers for the Rebels there. And it brings up 2nd down. Hafner again coming up the middle and nothing doing. That defensive line has made some adjustments, and I think this is what you were just alluding to, the fiery competitiveness of the Rebel defensive coordinator coming out and coming through in the players.
Well, I think if I saw it right, Coach Atlee had a receiver not get out of the huddle in time and get set on the far sideline. So that doesn't help. That's one of those small things we talked about, getting a penalty after you've had a little bit of success here. But you're right. One play kind of set the tone for probably what the second half tone is going to be from the Central defense here, to where they're not going to give up another rush like that. And if they do, you may see a change of numbers hitting the field coming off the sideline.
Loss of 5 brings up 3rd and 15 in Rebel territory, the 33-yard line. They need to get down to the 18 for a first down, or just shy of the 18-yard line, as Frisk will rainbow near the 10. One-on-one coverage by Henson, and Henson knocks it away from Beeler, incomplete, and it'll bring up 4th and 15. I like the look of the pass out of the hand of the young junior.
Well, that's one of those that you've got a one-man route. It pretty much was, we're going deep on this. We're going to try to get one in the end zone. And once you get that, though, you have to know what the defender is. They're giving some cushion. Central saying, we're gonna press on the run outside. We're going to come off and we're going to break to the ball. But right now, they're giving them some bump and run. Now, obviously, being 4th down, they're not going to give it up. They're playing tight defense.
Frisk will fake the handoff. He'll roll far side of the field, looking as he's pressured by a defender, and throws to the middle of the field. And flung down to the ground is the Blue Jay receiver, Weiss. And Weiss got up wanting a flag. He was near the first down marker.
Well, I think what he's looking for there, I think he's looking for a horse collar. But the rule in high school football is if you grab the shirt or the shoulder pad and that player goes down to a side or to a back position, that is a true horse collar. He got slung forward, which actually gave him the first down yardage on the tackle.
And he did pick up enough. They needed 15. He got about 15 and a half thanks to that. 10:40 left to go, third quarter. Man goes in motion. That is Weiss. Running his direction is the quarterback, Frisk, and Frisk will be stood up just shy of the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of 1 on the rush. Opening possession of the third quarter, 30-6, Rebels with the lead.
And we're early enough in the season here that with the game, you're multiple scores behind here. You just got to be who you are as identity. This isn't a time to try anything that's going to be, opening up your playbook for weeks to come where people know what's going on.
Frisk fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, throws near sideline to Weiss, and Weiss will find open field and walk it on into the end zone for a touchdown. Second TD pass of the night by the young quarterback. This one from 18 yards out, and it makes it a 30-12 game before the point after attempt. Let's go down real quickly to Mike Reeves. Mike.
Yes, just a real quick update on Karis Foster, a member of the medical group down here. The training staff worked with him on that cramp. The basic situation is he feels like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. It's up to the coaching staff, obviously, to figure out how they want to handle it from there. That touchdown may make a lot of difference of how much more he plays on the offensive side of the ball. It got it a little bit more interesting on the scoreboard, but he says it appears to be okay. But they're going to be cautious.
And the two-point conversion also good as Weiss walked it into the far side, and really touchdowns and two-point conversions included. It is now a two-score game with 9:53 left to go in the third quarter. It's the Rebels with a 30-14 advantage. We'll keep it right here for a moment And remind you that if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive into a hands-on career, Mineral Area College is ready for you. Their MacTech industry and technology programs are all about getting to work and making things happen. So whether you thrive on fixing, building, or just plain problem solving, they've got a pathway for you: welding, HVAC, auto tech, construction, and a whole lot more. You'll gain the practical skills and real-world experience needed to thrive in today's job market. So take the first step to a fulfilling career in a MacTech program. You can apply today by visiting mineralarea.edu.
You know, and something that's pretty neat, Brandon, about that play is that's the spread's version of triple option. You know, you have an inside read, which looks like a midline, and as the quarterback pulls it for the second phase of the triple option, he hits out and he sees that defensive end or that outside linebacker commit to him pulling, and that slot receiver kind of banana routes out, and it's pretty much a backwards lateral, you know, just a pass out to that man.
Low line drive kick on the kickoff. This one taken at the 30-yard line and run straight ahead by guess who? Jackson Jones. He is everywhere. He had the interception to end the first half. He's thrown a couple scores, thrown for over 100 yards, run one in, and played a heck of a middle linebacker position that you expect him to play week in, week out as a two-time All-State performer.
He's kind of going to start to be that guy as teams see him. I'm not sure how much you want him really touching the ball in a situation where he doesn't have to touch the ball. There's 10 other men on the kick return. Get it away from him.
He's going to set up a screen pass this time, and it's set up beautifully, making the first man miss and then squirting free for a pickup of about 8 was Toomey. And it'll bring up second and short, second and about 3 after the 7-yard gain.
And that's something that this offense has done great over the last few years is you know that it's a run heavy. We've obviously seen Jackson throw the ball, but every time they bite up just a little bit on that first down, I mean, they are great at schematically making you wrong on defense.
Jones will roll out to the right, looking to pass downfield. Has Henson behind the defender, inside the 10, and dragged down at the 6-yard line. Henson has had a couple opportunities, dropped those, was frustrated with himself, but he'll be happy after that one. A pickup of about 42.
That may have been the best ball he's thrown all night, too, Brandon. I mean, that was a tight spiral. That was right in the breadbasket, right over the inside shoulder to the outside elbow.
And it had to be there because the defender was there in close enough range to make a play. Brody Pigg checking in as one of the running backs behind Jackson Jones. He is the deep man in this 3-back set, and Jones will keep it. He'll push the pile straight ahead and churn toward the end zone. He will get there. Second time tonight that he has carried a short one across the end zone. This one, a 3-yard touchdown run, and Jackson Jones gets the score right back that the defense had just given up.
I know they're in a situation where they have to find the man to be in control of this offense, but every time you look at it, it's just kind of a unique situation to see a skill guy at 49 taking the snaps from your offense, to see a man who's usually just a linebacker number or something that used to be the old school fullback number going under center.
Jones will take the snap, and before they can get the play off, a whistle on the play. A false start, pushing back 5 yards. It's one of the fun things I've noticed tonight. We've talked so much about Foster and the Jones and Foster connection, but there's a handful of other guys making big plays, quietly coming around for the Central Rebels, and as they continue to open up this offense going forward, it's only going to get better and better.
You bet, and you're going to find who your extras are to go to. So as a team starts to schematically plan to take Foster or try to take Jackson out of equations, how you're going to have one or two other hidden weapons, you know, that are going to surprise some teams week after week.
Henson will go in motion again. A whistle. And think we're going to have the false start again, and it'll be a very long two-point conversion attempt for the Central Rebels. I think some of this, we're seeing some of those second-tier guys in there getting that varsity action, and it's a good spot for it, but this may be the result.
Sometimes, sometimes the 3-yard line's a little too close, though, to run some of your plays. That's what makes it really weird.
Jones eludes a defender, throws it up to the corner of the end zone, and unable to run underneath it and grab it for the two-point conversion is Black. It falls incomplete. And Central's two-point conversion fails after a couple of penalties. They own a 36-14 lead, 8:32 left to go in the third quarter here on Parkland Sports Live.
Hey, it's Mark Tody here, and there's no better place to watch the big game than Spokes Pub and Grill in Farmington. Chris and Dina Spence invite you out to enjoy the great menu and the fun atmosphere that Spokes always provides. For me, I love the burgers. The catfish sandwich is amazing. The pork chops are awesome. They have huge salads, and you should always leave room for dessert when you go to Spokes. Check out their Facebook page to see when your favorite band is performing. And as always, for rolling good times, it's Spokes Pub and Grill right off Highway 67 in Farmington.
Week number 2 of high school football on Parkland Sports Live in conjunction with the Parkland Podcast, brought to you as always by The Barn. Glad to have you along on this Friday night. Cool feel to it, and an enjoyable one for the Central Rebels, who have put up 36 points on the board. They lead 36-14, 8:31 left to go in the third quarter. The Jefferson Blue Jays, who put their first possession in the end zone, will try to do the same with their second possession as they come out. Their young quarterback completed his second touchdown pass of the night on the last possession.
First and 10 for Jefferson.
Again, back at it on Thursday night. Fredericktown and the same Central Rebels will be going at it. You can tune in for all the coverage coming up on Thursday night. Frisk in the shotgun will fake the handoff to Hafner, but then lost the handle on it himself. And there were a lot of blue shirts around there, but I believe Frisk was able to jump on it.
The play was recovered by Jefferson.
And keep possession. They were able to, and it's near the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of 1 after all that, but they keep the football, so got to be happy about that one. Let's go down to the sideline. Mike Reeves after this play. 2nd and 11 coming up as Frisk takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and shoots it over the head of his intended receiver. Mike, what do you have, sir?
That incompletion is going to work out pretty well for what I wanted to do. Jake, I have a question for you as a coach and been involved in the game. How concerning, this last 2-point conversion notwithstanding, how concerning is the lack of success on the 2-point play all night long for the Rebels? Is that anything to read anything into?
At this point, I don't think so. I mean, you haven't been successful with it right now. It would be nice to get those. In a game like this, it's not. But you do have to find that rhythm. You do have to find exactly what you are wanting to schematically do when you're on the 3-yard line. But, Mike, you know as well as anybody, the 3-yard line, it is hard to score from sometimes. It limits your playbook.
Frisk was on the move and tried to find his intended target in Hafner, and Hafner tried to move before he had the football and then got frustrated with himself, dropped it at the 45-yard line instead of bringing up 4th and short. It's a 4th and 11 situation from their own 38-yard line for Jefferson. And they line up, ready to kick it away. And Frisk will angle it away from the return man, and it'll bounce out of bounds. Let's see where the refs mark it. It'll be the 29-yard line where the Rebels come out and set up their next possession. 7:39 remaining third quarter. A game that Central grabbed a quick 18-0 lead and has been in pretty much control from the word go in this one.
And I think you're at a point right now where you do what Coach Schweiss said at halftime. You just clean it up. You know, he wasn't happy with some of the penalties, and there were some silly mistakes, but that's what you try to be in control of this game. You just try to clean up your second half and run a sound 12 minutes of football.
Jones trying to throw a screen and an athletic play by the defensive lineman to leap up and bat it away as it's knocked down. And Jefferson got a paw on it, read that thing beautifully. They've tried to run it a couple times, and that time it didn't work out.
No, that was Troy Jefferson that got his big paw on it. He's not a little guy at all. Getting off the ground, getting his hand up. It really looked like he was going to have an Odell type of interception there.
And a little eager on the defensive side of the ball. Could have free 5 yards for Jefferson. That's exactly what we're going to have. Is the blitz was on and a little too eager there.
And I hate to say it, the way Foster came out of his stance, it was him who jumped the cadence in the slot. The way he came out, it looked like he was probably going to go for the home run ball down the field because he was out of nowhere off that line of scrimmage.
He's lined up near the slot on the far side of the football field and finds some open space at the 30-yard line and takes it across the 35, pushed out of bounds at the 36.
You know, I think this is an opportunity that you have to maybe dive into your playbook a little bit more than what you have in the first half. If you want to try some different route combinations, if you want to try some different schematics in your run game, there's nothing wrong with that with where you are in this ball game because it's still a competitive nature right now. It's not like it's completely lopsided. The stats say it's completely lopsided. But in this situation right now, I mean, you've got one or two guys that are starting to cramp. It looks like maybe Foster again's got a hamstring tightening up on him. But in this situation, I mean, you're up decent. You know, if you wanted to try to maybe do some things you've worked on in practice for future games, but at the same point, you can't do it with the longevity of player of his nature and caliber going down.
A guy that just eclipsed 250 total yards with that last reception. And while we have a moment, Mike Reeves, take it away, sir.
Hey, Brandon, nothing against you. I still love you and everything, but I'm going to talk to Jake again. I just thought I'd let you know. I'm curious, from a coaching perspective, Jake, you talk about, well, let's get a little deeper into playbook. Are coaches ever fearful, though, of showing too much? All right, we're in week 2. We've got this, but we want to use this in a game that's more competitive. Is that something coaches are truly cognizant and thinking about?
You bet. I mean, there's been times being in offensive staff meetings where we know that 3 weeks from now we have a certain team that we are very prone to do certain things against, and you start to build for 3 weeks those plays for that team. But, you know, if you get in a competitive game ahead of that situation, there's a chance you may have to pull one of those plays out to maybe squeak out a win in the weeks leading up to that. So, yes, you do play the cards, but at the same point, you know, you have to play those cards you're dealt when you need those cards.
Jones on a QB keeper up the middle, picked up enough for a first down, and he looks back at the clock, wanting to take much time off the clock as he possibly can as the Rebels have it 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Wood stays in to block and coming near side flat, firing incomplete is Jackson Jones, and Jones ended that first half 5 of 12 for 2 touchdowns. And he's come out in the second half, 3 of his first 5. That pass fell incomplete, was targeted for Boyer, who could not reel it in, going down to a knee. 3 wide receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, and a running back next to Jackson Jones, who runs through the line of scrimmage untouched, breaks into the open field and kicks it outside, gets inside the 40 down to about the 39-yard line before he is finally tackled. And that offensive line, we talked about them early on, but they opened up some holes, and then trying to tackle Jackson Jones in the open field is not the greatest feeling for a defense at this point in the game.
By no means, but I'm actually going to allude to the player you just talked to. You know, you've got a game right now that's a multi-score separation. You know, the gap is three scores to be in this. At the same point, though, how long, if you're Corey Schweiss, how long do you leave Jackson in knowing the physicality of what he's went through so far in this game? Do you try to get him to the end of the third quarter and maybe put in a younger body, if you have a capable younger body in the fourth, to save some legs?
Jones is still in there for now, and he'll give the handoff to Henson, and now Henson will find the corner. Now it's a race to the sideline, and he is drug out of bounds inside the 20 at about the 18-yard line. Hafner was the last line of defense, and he was able to make the tackle on a 24-yard scamper by Henson. And the thing that is starting to jump out to me when you look at some of these plays, you go down through this stat sheet, a 22-yard run by Jones just moments ago. There's been 60-yard touchdown runs, 60-yard passes. Now that one of 24 yards. Several different names, big plays all around for the Rebels. I don't know that you saw that coming in.
No, I thought we were really going to get a little bit more than 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I was hoping maybe for 4 and 5, move the chains a little bit more. But by no means, knowing the physicality of what Coach Atley and the the Blue Jays bring to this, by no means did I expect to see 20 and 30 and 60-yard chunks at a time from this Central team. But it also tells you weeks to come, we keep alluding, what do you look forward to in the weeks down the road? You have multiple weapons here that are hiding on the Central Rebel team. And it's kind of nice now in the third quarter with the spread of what it is to see these guys get their hands under the Friday night lights and get a little bit of an atmosphere at home, first game since bringing home a state championship, to feel what it's like to be a part of this program.
Chad Winch alluded to earlier with the Barn podcast, the coming out party for Karis Foster, but it might be a coming out party for this Central team altogether and opening some eyes in what they're capable of.
Well, I also think it goes back to what we said, though. It's, what did people truly expect of them losing the talent they lost? And they're proving tonight we are something to be reckoned with.
As Jackson Jones and the Rebels back to the offensive attack, he'll go near side flat for Henson and finds him. So back-to-back plays, Henson getting involved, and he picks up a handful there on first down. This one is receiving. The previous one was rushing. And Henson, who had that 30-plus yard run, was able to pick up a 40-plus yard reception in the first half as well. So big night for him. The numbers starting to pile up as Jackson Jones keeps it, and he'll draw a flag running into a mass of bodies around the right side. See what the penalty is about. Holding against the Rebels will cost them 5 yards, and see what they draw up here on a second down and long now instead of a third and short situation. They're situated right in front of where Mike Reeves is standing by, and Mike, a lot of the attention has, it seems, swayed because the score differential, but Central Rebels continuing to find offensive weapons every opportunity they get.
How many teams would tell you that they want depth? They want a number of weapons. This team's starting to show they've got that. Little by little, they're starting to show each and every play that they've got a depth of players who can make plays.
Jones takes the snap, almost the same looking play that we just saw. Find Henson in the near side flat, run into two guys, push them out of bounds, and get us back near where we were.
And that's one of the routes. Number one, for a quarterback, that's a hard route. A 5-and-out route is not something easy because that receiver is running straight away from you, and you limit yourself because he is gaining ground towards the sideline while distancing himself from you. But at the same point, it's probably one of the most undersought and underused routes in high school football anymore is to run that route. A lot of people run the speed out now where it's just a 3-yard quick out, but it's a great route by this Central Rebel team.
A lot of pressure in the face of Jackson Jones, and Jones throws it incomplete. Wasn't near an intended target. And again, I talked about it earlier, but the way even in that situation, Jackson Jones with 2 defenders, you look up and there's nothing but guys standing in your face. Instead of just losing all composure, he had the composure to take a half step back, still give his team a half of a chance to make a play.
Yeah, that's one of the first times he's had actually outside pressure off both tackles. He's had a little bit of a twist inside that's gotten through the A and B gaps and forced him out, but that was the first time both outsides got to him.
4th down play, found Henson down the middle, but it falls incomplete. Henson twisted around. He was looking near side and then turned his body around toward the far side sideline, could not come up with it, and it falls incomplete, and it'll be a turnover on downs as that was a 4th down play.
You know, and this is one of those hardest positions. You're not in a turbo clock situation. You're up 22. I mean, you're kind of stuck in that where there's not a whole lot of momentum right now either side of the ball. The Central defense is still playing well, but it hasn't been the Central defense we've seen that is igniting a fire within the 11 on the field and doing a great, tremendous job of everyone being disciplined. But on the same side, neither offense is really striving right now.
Jefferson will take back over. 1st down from their own 18, so a good defensive stand, and it's still just 3rd quarter, and there's still 4 minutes and change left to go. If the Jays can come down and make a score, maybe your approach starts to change. And there is a handoff and end around to Weiss. Weiss made some plays last week. He'll make one this week as he makes a man miss, picks up 1st down yardage, and gets out across the 30-yard line to the 34 before he's spun down there. A pickup of 13, and again, a 1st down.
No, that's just one of those. That's a play that's really hard because you see that wing. He takes that good counter step and it draws in the linebackers and the backside safety. It's just really hard to be staying at home and disciplined on that backside.
Hafner's had some tough sledding the last couple of carries. He had a -4 just at the end of the previous possession for the Blue Jays, and there fights to just get back to the line, maybe lost half a yard on it. As Bowers in on the tackle for the Jays. See Jackson Jones trying to stretch out here on the near side sideline. You hope if you're Central faithful, it's just a cramp as Weiss gets the handoff. Or check that. Not Weiss, it's Crater that carries the ball up the middle for a minimal gain.
Weiss kind of holding himself and kind of stretching, popping on his legs. I'd say, unfortunately, maybe at the bottom of that pile, he may have got a little hit in the nether regions. We'll just leave it at that, the way that he's kind of acting here.
Fire over the middle, and this one caught by Beeler. Beeler will be about a handful shy of the 1st down, but nice job to hang on in traffic for a 5-yard gain.
That's probably one of the best balls he's thrown all night. It was a very great reception to bring that in right in the middle of the safety and the middle linebacker collapsing on him.
Looking at his wristband as Frisk staring toward the sideline, and the entire offense does some shifting around. Didn't see a lot of this in the 1st half. The Jays were more get to the line and just go with it. Not right now, though. We'll check in with Mike Reeves coming up after this play as Frisk rolls near side. Has a man on the near side flat. Instead goes down the field, overshoots Beeler, and it falls incomplete. Mike.
Hey, fellas, I'm fairly adept at Google, so I got the phone out and I went to my medical page I like to trust. Can't find nether regions. I need a little more information.
Hey, I can't allude to that because the man talking was my health teacher back in middle school, who I took the pleasure of taking his health position when he finally retired. You know, so he knows what we're speaking on, and we'll just leave it at that.
He knows a little bit about anatomy.
That's right.
Jackson Jones back in there at quarterback on a 1st and 10. As a handoff to Henson comes near side, and Hafner will stop him in his tracks at the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. About 90 ticks left to go in the third quarter clock inside of that. And Central Rebels have a handle on this one at 36-14. Week number 2 of high school football. Again, a couple of games coming your way in week number 3, including these same Central Rebels on Thursday night against the Fredericktown Blackcats. Rebels will be riding some momentum going into that ballgame. And Jones will fight up the middle, run into the pile, had Henson running alongside of him until they got to the line of scrimmage.
Number 49, Jackson Jones.
Near the first down marker, but he's going to be a couple yards shy.
You know, it'd be kind of neat, you know, talking about this area, the MAAA, or just teams around here. Is Friday night, you know, you get to see one of the more famous names from around this area, and Will Compton coming back, you know, doing a little honorary ceremony at North County. So that'd be pretty good for the Raider faithful to see his face around the parts again.
I'm a big fan of the old bussin' with the boys. Will, when he was playing high school, you have probably a take on this. Did you have any indication that he would be
it's funny
the guy
you bring
to leave
that
this
up.
area and make the NFL?
That's funny you bring this up, because
Central
at that point I had just started my coaching career in Todd Vaughn at Farmington. It sent me to scout Will
Thank you all for attending
when we
tonight.
played North County
Please
that
drive
week.
carefully.
And it amazed me that, you know, whenever he said, you know, how does Will look, it was one of those deals where, the coach, he's big and fast, but to tell me he's going to Nebraska, and he goes, it doesn't matter, man. He's got the size, he's got the speed. If you've got it, they'll take you. So to answer that, no, but to see that and to know you watched and scouted him on Friday nights is absolutely amazing to see what he did with his career.
Yeah, we'll bring Mike Reeves back into this conversation as well. And Mike, we've seen some special players over the years in this area, and Will Compton was definitely one of those.
Oh, without a doubt, and a personality and a character to kind of go with it. He's got all those attributes, and I like when we do what we've done for so many years. And you know, Brandon, you've been a part of the area for years. I have for nearly 30 plus now. The number of athletes that go on and do bigger things are always fun. I mean, you don't always expect guys to play professionally. That's the ultimate dream. But if you do, but just to see them go out and have success and make a name for themselves, and it means so much to the programs and the schools that